Bill.
Dwayne.
Bill. I mean Dwayne. Yeah.
Dwayne.
Yeah, we buddies. All right, y'all live.
All right. Welcome to our July 15th meeting. Appreciate everyone being here. As always, we'll open up in a word of prayer, and will say the pledge, but Mr. Wayne Moat will say the prayer. But before we do, if you would, take a second and please put your phone on silent. Would be appreciated. Wayne, would you come up and say the prayer, please? All stand, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for the opportunity to gather and to carry out your mission and to bring more people to Christ. We're so happy that we open these meetings with a prayer so that everyone knows that you're what we're here for. We're here to disciple and to evangelize and to have people know that you are the leader and the guider of us. Watch over and guide this meeting and the people who participate. We're so much thankful for their giving and their generosity and their professionalism of looking over the matters that affect us on a daily basis. Watch over and guide us, and in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Will?
Attention, salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Mr. Lott?
Yes, Mr. President, you'd have before you the July the 1st board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes, the board please approve said minutes.
Okay, are there any changes? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor
Griffin.
Griffin, second. Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Concerned citizens. First we have on the list,
Arnedra Smith.
Ms. Smith.
You outside? Yeah, this.
Yes, come up to the podium, please, and state your name and give your address in 2 minutes, please.
Arnedra Smith. I only have 2 minutes. I don't know how I'm gonna sum this up in 2 minutes. My name is Arnedra Smith. I'm a minority-owned business here in Madison County. I've been in.
If you would, state your name and give your
My
address.
name is Arnedra Smith. I am a female minority. I'm registered with the Mississippi Minority here in Mississippi. And also I feel I'm a disadvantage. I think all of this is racially motivated. First of all, because when I first bought this property, it had a lot of trees on it. I'm standing there on my property. I got white residents asking me, what am I standing over here for? Even though I was on the county property, in front of my property. I said, I bought this property. Well, are you sure? I don't have to tell her. I know I own the property. Okay, when the trees got cut down, there still was a problem. I was told that I took their privacy away across from the ski lake. I feel that this is all racially motivated because of the color of my skin. That's what I feel. Then it's retaliation. When the land got cleared, I didn't call Mr. Griffin. The guy who cleared my land called and said, Mr. Griffin, this lady got this property. These people, feces is running down on her land. You remember you got that call, Mr. Paul? Okay, I didn't do this. This Skeeter Stubbs that do landscaping. Okay, I went to my neighbor. I asked him nicely, could we do something to correct this problem? I bought this property. I don't want feces running on my land. Now, I had 2 problems. One person did not have a septic tank. The other person, instead of their field line running behind their house, their field line is running down on the property line. I done talked to Ann Ho. I've been trying to get everybody's attention. They did correct one problem, was the person that didn't have a septic tank at all. But the problem with the field line is running right on the property line. There's tall grass growing. And y'all saying this A1 agriculture? Who gonna plant some on the land? But I feel like I'm being targeted. I'm a female truck driver. I got a female business here in this county. Every time I go down there, I got a tag for $1,000, $500. But y'all tell me I got to move my trucks. I mean, what I'm gonna do? I'm supposed to try. If I find somewhere else in the county, seems like I won't have the same problem if I move around some black people. But as long as I'm across the street from the ski lake with a dominant white people, it's not right. This is racially motivated, and I feel if it's my other neighbor, they retaliate because I told them to get a septic tank. That's only right. Do you want somebody else wastewater and feces running on your land that you done spent over $100,000 for? And I paid $105,000 for this property. And then y'all tell me I need to try to move from my trucks. Where I'm gonna take them? But I paid $1,000, $500 tax to be in this county. That's just the trucks. I probably spend every year $8,000 on taxes. The land taxes $1,300. The trailer trucks are $1,000. The tandems are $500. Then my car, I got about 4 or 5 cars. I mean, I just don't think it's right.
All right,
I
thank
mean,
you.
I lived in this country all my life,
Thank
all
you,
my
ma'am.
family
Let's
members.
finish up a little bit because I think we may have a little discussion, not sure. But let's go ahead and finish up. Next.
I mean, I feel like just, if you go right around the corner on Raleigh Ferry, there's a truck parked in the yard. He was parking there before I started parking it. Go on Sharon Road that says no trucks. He parked there. Okay, then you go up to Travis. He got hopper bottom trailer, a big yellow truck in the yard. They got just stuff everywhere. I mean, just go everywhere, even on the other side of Madison County, where on Davis Road, they got trucks. It's trucks everywhere. But if this my way I live, you mean I can't leave my home in my truck, go to work. And the same road that we talking about, I helped pave that road. I work for D&B. Me and my sons, we have paved that road. So you saying I got to move my stuff? I know it's racist because William Hawkins came and harassed me. Mr. Griffin, though, he came to my house one day, told me that I had until that morning to move my truck. I said, where the paperwork? Tell me what's going on. Well, your supervisor, Paul, told me. I got right direct on the phone, called Mr. Paul. He didn't know anything about it. So Paul said, well, I don't know nothing about it, Ms. Smith. Maybe you need to call Weeks. I called Mr. Weeks. I got text messages and where I called. He said he didn't know nothing about it. I was harassed. This was about a black person this time. He talked to me any kind of way like I was the lords of the lords. Just because I drive a truck don't mean I'm the lords of the lords, because everything you see in this building, it had to be brought here by a truck.
Let's finish up and have a little discussion. Ms. Griffin?
Because I'm not being treated fair in Madison
I know
County.
she mentioned you a couple of times. Any comments?
I
Any
want to hear what
statements?
Scott got to say.
All right, Scott? If you would, please let Scott come to the mic.
I need to sit down right now.
Well, you can just stand aside.
Okay.
Please. Yeah. Scott?
This is item number 58 on the
Okay.
agenda, and is for a commercial operation in an agricultural zone district.
Okay. And what is, if you would, explain to the board exactly what's going on.
It's a lot of dump trucks. It's commercial activity. It's a lot of dump trucks parked on the property, and that's what the complaint is. That's the complaint I've received, is all these, 18-wheelers, dump trucks parked on this property.
And the property is zoned to where those vehicles or trucks not allowed?
No, they're not. Now, if they were your personal truck and that was yours, that is one thing. We've dealt with that on the
Right.
Teddy Lee property down there on Bozeman Road, where he had employees coming and going.
Okay. Ms. Griffin?
Scott, how many trucks you think is out there? Dump trucks?
I can't specifically say. I had some pictures, but it fluctuates. I think I saw 6 or 7 that day I was out there.
And the property zone what now?
Agricultural.
Agriculture. And I want to just say that we, the county, do not keep people from coming to their home in their truck, big truck. But when you're getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trucks, Ms. Smith, you operating the business out of your home, virtually.
I want to ask a question, okay? At first, they told me it was.
Ma'am, hold on. Supervisor Griffin, you
Yeah.
still talking?
You're operating a business out of your home, and your property have to be zoned a certain thing before you can operate a business. If it's zoned agricultural, you can't operate a truck driving.
Well, let me ask you a question now.
Go ahead.
On April the 18th, when Hawkins came to my house, he told me that I was R1. So what's the difference? How could it be changed from R1 to A1 in less than 3 months? I mean,
He could have misspoken. He had to come back and research it. After he researched it, he probably found out that it was.
Well, okay, it's agriculture. Well, why won't if agriculture means you grow crops or whatever? But we also harp about them. But it's not like we conducting the business. Like now, my son left. He's gone now in one of my trucks that's in my name. He hauled live chickens for Tyson. Okay, so you mean that's conducting business? And there's a house there, see, his house just was moved there last week. So on my spot where my house is, okay, I got both sons that drive trucks.
You got two sons that
I
drive
got
truck.
2 sons that drive truck. My son's fiance, she has CDL, she drive truck. I drive truck. Also my husband. So that's over 5 people more. So you saying we can't go to work just like Mr. Blackman? He might not have dump trucks. He running a business out of his own. He has commercial vehicles with Blackman concrete on it. He got trucks parked in his yard right now.
We ain't talking about everybody.
But what I'm saying, I think we ain't talking about everybody, but everybody supposed to be treated equal. Didn't that what we just say? Liberty and justice for all. So there's not liberty and justice for all. So you saying it's liberty for some people, but liberty not for me. I feel intimidated as a black. I work hard trying to build this company here. Y'all don't have no problems out of me in Madison County. Y'all ain't never really had no problem, crime or nothing out of me. I paid $1,000. This what get me. I paid $1,000 truck tax, $500. Let me go, and it's expired one day. They stopping you. Oh, you got a ticket but you tell me I got to move my truck when I'm already paying $1,300 land tax.
Hold on one second.
Come on, I don't have nowhere else.
Ma'am.
Can I
hold
put a
on
fence
one
up?
second. Supervisor Griffin is,
God, what, Mike Williams here, what do the law requires what she can do with a truck there? How many trucks, if she got her and her husband living at home and both of them drive trucks? I would think, I don't know, do the laws think that? I think each person should be able to drive their truck home and park it there and leave. Am I right on that?
I agree with you. Now, it's, anybody who is not a resident of that parcel of land, that's the different story.
You understand what we're saying, Miss Smith?
Sir,
Do you understand what we said?
But it's two.
Hold
It's
on.
two parcels right now.
Hold
So
on.
my son got
And
a
you
parcel
said-
and I got a parcel.
You said your son just moved a trailer down there.
Yes.
Do he have permit and all that to move that trailer there?
Yes.
Is your son married?
No, he's not.
He gonna live in that trailer just himself?
But no, he got a fiance there, want to get married. I say he has a fiance.
Your
also
fiance
has-
drive a truck?
Yes, she has CDL license. Y'all can check her out. Her name is John Talia Banks. Check her out. You'll find out she do have CDL. My husband, he has CDL. My son, DeMarvin Smith, he has CDL.
Yeah,
We
Demaris
all-
probably don't live out there, cause you talking about two houses. Your house and the recent trailer that was moved
But
there.
it was on the same property. I just divided it because the mobile home people said that I had to.
You ain't comprehending what I'm saying, Mr. Smith. They put two houses out there right now. And I'm more or less saying it can't be but two dump trucks at each house. Because,
Yeah,
go ahead.
If I could just say a
Yeah.
word about it. this board, this county has had this to come up before. You remember Teddy Lee's situation out here? So we try not to restrict the conduct of business. So the board's policy, you ask about law and zoning law, I'm just saying what the policy has been. We had a lawsuit over it. So if an individual's involved in construction business, that's one thing. If the individual, as a part of the construction business, drives to and from his or her home in the truck and parks it overnight and takes it and goes to the business, that's permissible. So I'm just saying, if it's one person driving whatever size truck home at night and back to a business, that's fine. But if it becomes a truck parking lot or others who don't live in that house parking in the same spaces, that becomes something different. That's a business. And so if it's not zoned for a business, that's not permissible. So so there's some allowance for an individual driving if it's a half-ton pickup or an 18-wheeler. We've allowed it if that's the person's going home in that vehicle. But if it's more than that, like the case I mentioned, he had employees come into the lot, picking up 18-wheelers in his home area. That's not permissible, so we got sued. We sued. So that's what I'm saying. There's some leeway, but it's got to be your truck at your house and nothing more.
Right. Supervisor Griffin, would you work with the attorney and Scott and Ms. Ferguson and, just, get this thing cleared?
Well, I think I'm to the point of just about clearing it right now myself. Yes. If two people live in the home and both of them drive trucks, I'm willing to let two trucks be parked there. And her son drive truck, and she say the son's fiance. So that's two trucks at that trailer. She drive trucks, and her husband drive trucks. So that's two trucks at her house. Now, I don't know, do that meet our policy or not, but that meet me in my reasonable mind, because my wife and I drove trucks. I want both of us to be able to drive our truck home if possible. And that's where I stand.
Okay. Any other questions? If y'all will, just Mike or Scott, if y'all will, just work with Ms. Ferguson and explain a little bit more in detail if need be, and with Supervisor Griffin. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other concerned citizens?
A few more, yes, sir. Next is Catherine Goldman.
Okay. Goldman?
Goldman, yes.
Okay. If you would, please come up and state your name, give your address, and a couple of minutes, please.
Hello, my name is Catherine Goldman. I live at 11 Quentin Old Jackson Road, and I was just concerned about our houses out there. We have a lot of traffic going, a lot of noise at night during the day, and a lot of dust and stuff, and I'm just concerned about what's gonna be done about it. That's all I have.
Old Jackson Road.
Yeah, Old Jackson Road. What end of Old Jackson Road are you?
I'm on the end to 22.
That's the north end.
The north end. Okay, so the dust, I guess you're speaking of, is coming from that construction traffic.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
You can dust in your house today, and then next hour or so, it's full back up in there.
Okay.
And it's causing me to cough and go on. It just can't sit outside anymore, and just creating a lot of problem from it.
Well, it sounds like, we need to try to make contact with the folks that are doing the construction and see what they can do to cut back on some of the dust I see it when I come through. Sometimes when they're putting out, especially when they're doing the lime treatment, because it's very thin and very fine, and it does kind of get away from it. You coming down 22, you can see, and hopefully, a lot of that will be going away pretty soon because they're starting to put some. They put some piers in the ground to start building the buildings on back on up, because all that's coming from the treatment of the soil to make the soil stable enough to accept those buildings. So it hopefully we're nearing the end on that, a portion of that, and then they'll be moving on further away from you in the plans on the additional construction. They started there, and they're going to be moving on further to the east and further to the north on that property.
Okay.
So-
And you can't get out on that end. On 22, leaving your house, and you go down Soldier Carter Road, so many holes, tear your tires up, knocking out of bounds.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm glad to know about Soldier Carter, and we'll try to see if we can solve that problem and give you another route out.
Okay.
So, Ms. Banks.
If you got my numbers, give me a call anytime it seems to be too oppressive. Okay.
Next, concerned citizen,
Timothy Jenkins.
Timothy Jenkins.
Good morning, Board. Timothy Jenkins, 123 Countryside Cove, Madison. I'm coming to y'all today to ask about Hawkins Thompson Lane. We finally, after 4 months, closed on 19 acres there, and I'm a little concerned about the road because there's been a 5,000-pound weight limit on the road. My truck is a 3/4-ton truck, and it weighs over 5,000 pounds. So I really don't want our nice sheriff pulling me over, giving me a ticket for trying to go to my property. I have talked to one resident in particular because I brought up the fact that if you've got a 5,000-pound weight limit on the road, it probably means that it's unsafe to travel on anything above that. I understand garbage trucks, but if you got a 5,000-pound weight limit sign on it, I understand that you can get a special exemption for a school bus. But if it's that unsafe, is it safe to carry kids on a school bus? I would like to start building a barn and eventually a house out there. And 5,000 pounds is a bit ridiculous, especially since all the logs piled up on that other lot that's just north of mine. I understand that there's about a 5-week limit on getting that stuff off. Well, it's kind of hard to move stuff if you got a 5,000-pound weight limit. So I'm just kind of here today to ask what the plans are to get that road passable, not just for me, but for everybody that lives on that road or works off that road.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Timothy.
Okay.
With that being said, I think Mr. Banks, you and I guess the engineer will
Yeah,
work
we'll look
together
at it.
and see about the road itself in general, as far as the weight limit.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems we had was the type of activity that was going on the road. The hauling in a lot of trees and things like that. So we placed a weight limit, lowered the weight limit, and to prevent the activity that was going on. That's a residential area and needs to stay a residential area. And until we get it cleaned up and we'll take a look at later on after the area is cleaned up and all that commercial activity is gone. We'll take another look at it and see if we could raise weight limit a little bit.
So my question is, if I hook my trailer up to my truck, to get lumber to take out there to start building a barn, what's my responsibility on wanting to get to my property? I mean, I've been down gravel roads that you could carry more than 5,000 pounds.
If you're going to build a barn, I don't see any reason that the sheriff or nobody's gonna stop you from taking, your lumber down to build a barn.
But again,
But if there's
it's got
gonna
a,
be
it's got a
commercial
weight
ac-
limit on it.
There's a plan to have commercial activity out there, hauling trees to cut them up or do anything like that to resell, it ain't gonna happen.
Timothy, what kind of, I understand what you're saying here. What kind of weight limit you're talking about as far as
Well,
hauling?
If I've got a 22-foot trailer, I got a 14-foot trailer, I got an 18-foot trailer. I don't plan on hauling anything any longer than that. But
I'm talking
if I
about what
put, I got an 8,000-pound excavator. So you're talking about 16 to 20,000 pounds.
Okay.
But the lady that I talked to last Thursday, if it's unsafe for me to go down it, then I understand you can get a special exemption for a school bus, but is it safe enough for them to go down it if it's 5,000 pounds?
I have a question. Is this 5,000 gross vehicle weight or 5,000 pounds per axle? Is that more of the intent would be that it be 5,000 pounds per axle?
Yeah, that's
So
more
if
the
you've got a
intent.
10,000 pound truck, you've got two axles.
That's right.
You good.
Yeah.
If you've got a 15,000 pound truck and trailer, you've got three axles, you're good. Is the 5,000 pounds more a axle weight or a gross vehicle weight?
I think it was
That would
intended to be an
be
actual weight.
where I would,
You'd ask, the engineer can tell you.
But
that.
Tim,
my
is that-
last comment would be.
Hold on one
Okay.
second. Hold on. Tim, would you come up and just make sure we're all on the same page as far as the actual weight and,
I would have to see the sign. I haven't seen the sign because it all depends on how the sign reads.
Picture of it, you give him a moment. Looks like it is anyway.
Says gross.
Yeah, that one's gross.
Oh, well then it,
So
well, and that's the reason we wanted to clear it up, because I think that's what we go off of anyway, is the gross weight
Right.
on most roads anyway.
I would think if he had a permit to build a barn,
Right.
from the building permit office, that would supersede that. That means we're giving him permission to build a barn on his property and that
That's right.
he would have permission to get to his property to build it.
Yeah. And I think what Ms. Banks said is that, hey, that's good to go, as far as construction work can go, and I agree. So what does he need to do at this point to move forward with his barn and shed?
Go get his lumber, come
Get his-
build his
I
I think
barn.
he just gets a permit through
Get a permit and,
Scott's office. So.
okay, that's a good deal.
Can I make one last comment? Because this has come up in my previous last Thursday. I realize people live out there, and eventually I may live out there too. But it's zoned agriculture, and then just north of me is zoned commercial. So it's not zoned residential. It's agricultural property. And I've been led to believe that if I want to build barns, outbuildings, whatever, on agricultural property, I can do that. So I realize people live out there.
Right.
I lived on a farm on West County Line Road for a while.
Okay, thank you, Timothy. You got, I think your answer is to get a permit. I think your answer is. So, all right, next, concerned citizen,
Cynthia Allen.
Cynthia? Cynthia Allen, please come up and state your name, give your address, in a couple of minutes, please.
Good morning,
Morning.
everyone in the audience and to the Board of Supervisors, to my cousin and to you all, protocol established. I would like to say that my name is Cynthia Allen. I'm a homeowner at 1891 West P Street in the illustrious city of Canton, Mississippi. I'm directly across the street from the Amazon building and all of the goings-on. I have two questions. One, I know that I read that you guys, or maybe someone's getting ready to approve the internet for all the counties, not just for our section, but going to the outside, which I think is great. I don't understand, and maybe you can help me to understand why it is that Comcast was not, I'm assuming is the city's internet provider, why were they not, since I'm now annexed into the city limits, why was Comcast not slotted to do that, to make certain that we had the ability to have internet service as well? That's one question. And two question, we have had a meeting. I live in the Attleboro subdivision, which is the subdivision right on the light. All of those houses before you get to Old Jackson Road and the ones going back there, those are our community. We did have a question. We met with Mr. Deason of Amazon. It was a long meeting. And we met in March. He did have some things that he looked at, and he didn't send us an email, but he sent an email to Amazon. And the only thing that I think that came from that meeting was he understood how many people were there. He has been true to his word. We still have trash in our yard. We still have semi-trucks checking their brakes at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And it's like a bomb's going on outside of your home. We still do have a lot of vagrant traffic where people are just doing a lot of extra walking, because when you have construction, that happens. My concern is, what are you going to do as a board, or have you spoken with any of the people at Mesita, I hope I'm saying that right, to increase police activity to patrol our areas a little bit more?
With the trash pickup and stuff, Greg, would you work with Makita?
Mr. Deason said he was having it, but we need an extra one because it's increasing. The more you're building, the more trash is being blown out into the yards. And the metal from the trucks, 'cause I've lost 2 tires as a result that I didn't see in the road.
Okay, if you will, Greg, work with Joey Deason with the trash pickup and also the time that the vehicles are out in the morning times as well. They need to be a
And the
reasonable
dust,
time.
may as well.
Well, you can't do anything about the dust. I get that.
They can do something.
Oh, well, praise the Lord. Let them do something about the dust, because I'm tired of buying $45 HEPA filters, and I also have asthma now as a result. So I'm holding on as long as I can. But
Yeah.
if you guys can assist me, and also he said he was going to give us in the first meeting iPads for our children, but the email said Kindles. So make certain you speak with him about that too. I have it documented because I wrote the notes down.
Okay.
To be fair, Kindle is Amazon.
Well, I think at the time, we didn't think that we were going to come out in force. And so all of the community came out, all of the homeowners came out in force from the Attleboro subdivision. I think we kind of alarmed him a little bit, and it's okay, and he gave away a few of the secrets, but we're going to keep those to ourselves. However, I do believe that Comcast or whatever if they are supposed to supply internet to the city, I have to wait for the AT&T or whomever's going to be the person to give us a line. I'm not against Flora having anything. I'm not against. Just give me my fair share.
Right.
And it needs to be timely.
If you will, check with Joey on those 3 or 4 topics, and let's get that going. And as far as the Comcast broadband that you're talking about, I guess I'm not sure. We have a representative here today that will be speaking on that issue on broadband.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what he says and address it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Broadband and fiber optic cable, is that the same thing? That's fiber optics. That's the same. I'm not internet. I just plug it in. I can talk and do stuff. So that's what he's gonna do.
That's what you're asking. Yes.
Okay. Last question. Why was it initially? I was told that the businesses, commercial businesses, were given the opportunity to have fiber optics, and it wasn't zoned for the residents in our area. I think initially, before we got annexed, the Kansas City limits stopped at Old Jackson Road. Well, unbeknownst to me, we've been annexed now. So I understand that, but I just think that in terms of forward thinking, if you do have people in the community, and if you do have people, as COVID taught us, nothing is stable anymore, you should be thinking, I'm assuming you guys are thinking 5, 6 years, 10, 20 years ahead. I would have liked to at least had an opportunity to explain our position on that. That's the only thing that I'm really upset with the board about. I don't think that they were thinking about residentially the people in Attleboro.
Yeah, I think we're always thinking about the residential and commercial as well, and I think the Comcast person will address some of these issues, because we are looking at phase 2 as far as broadband, and we'll see where that leads us in what direction, at phase 2, whether it covers the subdivision you're actually talking about. So when he comes up, hopefully he'll address
Okay.
Yeah,
that issue.
I think we need to explain, though, that some of the things that happen inside the city limits had nothing to do with the Board of Supervisors. And what we've been trying to do is get broadband for everybody in Madison County.
Right.
Phase 1, that's 4,400 homes.
Up in Camden? Up
East
Camden.
and north, east and
Okay.
northeast.
Where you moved from.
Yeah, wait,
Well, I understand that because I was a victim of AT&T. That if you tell somebody to drop their internet so I can hook up their dial-up, it's ridiculous. As much money as we pay for this stuff, I pay more for internet than I do for my car insurance.
Let's stay on the topic.
It is, and I think Comcast is the the one putting all the internet up. Now we've started phase 2. Phase 2 is to fill in every area that we can find that doesn't have it now.
Well, we appreciate that.
So we're working on it. That's all I can say now. We're working on it.
Is there, and my last question, I'm gonna give you my email address so you can email me because Mr. Deason didn't take it, but I want to give it to you. Is there I work for government accounting. I'm in government accounting and projects. And I think in terms of, if you tell me that you're gonna have something done by this time, I'm expecting for you to do it. If you don't have it by this time, there's a reduction in what your next profit's gonna be. I want to know, is the Board of Supervisors on it to make certain, if you say you're gonna have this done, this phase 1 is 75 houses, and you miss your mark, what is the penalty for missing the mark? Because if I don't pay my credit card bill, I get charged $25.
I agree with that statement there very much so. If you tell me you're going to do something,
absolutely,
let's do it and move forward. And so, yes, that's most of the time that's built into the agreement of contract.
Who's monitoring it?
But well, the county will.
So is there one person assigned to make certain that everybody meets their time? You going out there with a camera saying, "Hey,
the county will."
Greg,
the administrator, will.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
that's
you need
who
my
it is.
address.
So let's wait and
Hello, Mr. Epson. Good to see you.
yeah, let's wait and see what broadband, what Comcast is going to come up and say. But as Supervisors Banks says, we're looking for residential and commercial, and we're not only looking 5 or 10 years, we're looking at 25, 30, 40 years out.
Okay.
We're not looking just 5 or 10.
Okay.
And we want everyone in Madison County to have access to broadband.
I do too, but I mainly want Canton.
We're looking for the county. We're looking for Canton County.
I do. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I live here, and I appreciate your specificity, and I appreciate your candor, and I thank you, board. You will be seeing me again with any complaints, and also on that Old Jackson Road, it is an eyesore. It's erosion. Somebody's gonna have an accident because when it's dark, you can't see the divot. They're gonna have it.
You should stay for the item number 3.
I am gonna stay for the whole meeting.
Yeah, it's right behind you.
Thank you all.
Make sure you follow up with Joey.
That's my card, cell phone, email, the whole
I'm
nine.
gonna text you right now. Yes, sir.
No, I just asked
I
Greg to
absolutely
make
will
sure to
follow
follow
up
up
with
with Joey Deason.
iPad. He said iPads. We have 35 people. iPads, not
All right,
Kindles.
we got it covered. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You're awesome.
Next on the consent. On the
Next
concern.
up is Mr. Toby Trowbridge.
All right, Mr. Tobridge. Please come up and state your name, give your address, and a couple of minutes for the board, please.
Good morning, Board. My name's Toby Trowbridge, 207 Agency Burn, Ridgeland, Mississippi. My property's located on Gray Trowbridge Road, off of Cedar Hill Road at the Jackson Cemetery. Before I get right into this, do you want me to speak before the petitioner FAR comes up here or before y'all accept the acknowledgement of this thing that I knew nothing about until last night?
Now, you're talking about the traffic study on Highway 22?
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
You can speak now, and it is on the agenda, so if you like to speak now, please do so, and then, when the item has come up as well, if you'd like to.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Why don't we have this debate after or during the time we're actually looking at the item
And I'm fine with
Which
that.
is item
unless you just wanna
51.
say something.
We'll be getting to it.
Either
pretty
way,
soon.
I just want to,
Yeah.
I mean, we're a little before it now, and I just want to make sure, because somewhere down to me, the communications didn't get right.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about this till yesterday afternoon, 4 o'clock this morning. After my coffee, I went to work on it now.
Right.
So,
Well, I have to apologize to you for that because, you and I had discussed me doing the
Right.
traffic thing and everything. And that's my fault,
Wow.
that I didn't call you back and let you
Not a
know I
problem.
had it and.
that's
so
why
we
I
can
asked
go-
first, do you want me to start now? We just want to wait till we get into it.
Well,
Let's wait till we
it's
get
all
into
me.
it, it'd be just as good, and we can do it all at one time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, next.
I've got two other names,
Okay.
and Stokes Road Shell out beside both of them. Would this board like to hold those two as well until the?
Same time.
Oh,
If they don't
And
mind.
what two names are they?
Those are Dwayne Moak and
Yep.
Sam Martin.
Okay. We just do both of them, listen to all at the same time, if that's fine. Okay, good deal.
No more names on this list, just Ken and Cleveland from the agenda.
Okay, next on the agenda is Ronnie Calvin.
Didn't not you?
Nope. Ken and Cleveland, number 2.
Number 2, Mr. Cleveland.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kenneth Cleveland. I live 126 Martinique Drive in Madison, Mississippi. I live in the great subdivision of Lake Caroline. And I'm here today to talk to each and every one of you in reference to grant money under the grant of CFI, which is Charging Fueling Infrastructure Grant. You should have a copy. I emailed a copy, and it was forwarded to you. At this time, I would like to issue.
I'll pass those up.
No, this is what the levels of charging stations.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's 3 levels of charging station. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. Under the grant, they request level 3 charging stations. And how the grant works is 2 tracks, community, and you have corridor. I also emailed you a copy of the locations that we have identified that's agreeing to allow us to install and service charging station on their premises. You have Lost Rabbit is one, and we have another location which we call the corridor, right off 55. If you're going north, you take that first Canton exit, you make that right on Frontage Road where you have Econo Lodge and you have a Mexican restaurant right there. One particular item on the grant say it should be a minimum of 500,000 up to 20 million and above. We have several, options that we can present to you. One is called a partnership with Universal Solar that would allow the charging stations to basically pay for the 20% because it's on an 80-20 match. And the county would actually gain revenue to, if the county decide to invest 20%, the charging station could make a profit every so often. Profit would go towards the county that invested, Madison County that invested the 20% in the 80-20. Okay? I also have for you information on the potential profit margin projection that electric charging station, just one, can produce.
Thank you.
Now, as you can see, there's typically 3 types of batteries for electric cars. you got a 40 kilowatt battery, 65 kilowatt battery, and a 90 kilowatt battery. So the way it works, if you have a 90 kilowatt battery vehicle, which is a large utility vehicle, and the charging station per kilowatt hour, they charge you 50 to 60 cents a kilowatt hour. So if one particular vehicle takes 30 minutes to charge, then you take 30 times the 0.60 or 0.50 to 0.60 what you would charge for the kilowatt hour. And you multiply that, and that would be the cost for the electric vehicle to charge. So each vehicle charge differently. Of course, a 40 kilowatt hour, if you had a 100 kilowatt charger, then of course that 40 kilowatt hour vehicle would charge quicker than a 90 kilowatt hour vehicle. So that's what we're looking at for as how it operates and the levels of charges that I issued out to you. And it falls under the grant. And the submission for the grant, I believe, is August the 28th, somewhere around there. So we have enough time to get it done, and we could have multiple locations because you could have the corridor or you could have the community. We're looking for more locations than what we have identified. I presented to you this morning. If the board have a location that they would like electric charging stations, we can do that. So what we're looking at is a growing market that if we get in front of it, it would help our citizens, it would create jobs, it would create an opportunity where Madison County can be a leader in this industry. Let me give you a brief history on my company. Universal Solar Enterprises, LLC, was the first minority company to build a solar farm in the state of Mississippi to sell power to the largest utility company in the state. We took that same solar system and was the first minority to put on top a commercial building to save that guy who owned that building 70% on their electric bill. And Universal Solar Enterprises, LLC would be the first minority company to own and operate an EV charging station on property that my company is developing at this moment. We have the solar farm on the property, and we'll be the first minority to actually install and operate an electric charging station in the state of Mississippi. So I'm opening it up now for any questions.
I got a question,
All right,
a couple of
question?
questions. You're asking the county to guarantee the 20% match? Is that what you're?
It's 80-20.
Yeah, I know, but 80% is the federal government, and you're asking the county for the 20%? I'm confused.
Yes.
And how does a customer pay to use this service? Is there a credit card machine, or how do you generate income?
You generate income by, if you like, for example, if you go and get gas in your car, you pay by a credit card. Most of the people, that's what they're doing now. And that's the same way you would pay to charge your vehicle.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Whose charging port are you going to use?
Whose?
Yes, there's no standardization really in charging ports on cars. Manufacturers, Tesla has their own port. Everybody else, for the most part, as long as it's relatively newer, uses an SAE standard fast charge port that can do. It has two parts to it. It's a round plug and then a two plug. And basically you can do level 1 and level 2 in the round port, and you can do the level 3 fast charging if you uncap and do the second port. So which of those models are these charging stations that you're proposing going to go with?
It'll be two hoses. Okay, and this is the what the charger would look like right here.
So you're going to have both. You're going to have for Tesla and for everybody else?
It's universal.
I don't believe it's universal. It is not universal. It is Tesla and everybody else right now. If I had to go to a gas station, and we're all familiar with cars. You go to any gas station in the country, the nozzle fits in your car. If it doesn't fit, you're trying to put diesel in your gasoline car because they made it a different size. Here, we have a situation where electric vehicle manufacturers are starting to get on the same page, but they're not on the same page. From my brief research, there are 4 current available charging ports on a car. Most of the cars in America use the 2 newer ones, the Tesla one and the current fast charging port that is the SAE standard. But there are also 2 older ones. So if you have an older car, my concern is that there is no standardization currently among EV manufacturers. Most, probably about 6 or 7 of them have decided that Tesla owns about 45 to 50% of the market share. They have invested untold millions in creating a fast charge network, and as of right now, many EV manufacturers are going to start building their cars with the Tesla charging port. You know, my hesitation is investing in anything that might be outdated. I'm sure we've all had old iPhones that used the big wide port and then it went to the lightning port. Now Europe has said, hey, if you want to connect to anything, you've got to use USB-C. And if you have a newer iPhone or a newer iPad, now all your cables with the lightning port are useless. They're done. They're going in a drawer. They're going in the trash. They're creating issues. And they're going to USB-C. That's called standardization instead of proprietary. Right now, there is no standardization in EV charging. I personally, until there is standardization across EV charging, I'm not going to buy an EV personally. But if I did, I would buy the one that most charging ports would do, because I don't want to have to buy an adapter. I don't want to have to drive to the middle of nowhere for a charging port and hope that I can plug my EV in. And I can't support the county investing in this technology, especially when there are other options that allow for participation in society. I would much rather spend our tax dollars getting people internet so they can, high-speed broadband internet, so they can participate in modern society instead of spending money on an EV gas station. I mean, we literally, it feels like, have gas stations knocking down our door when you can't throw a rock without hitting a gas station to build a new gas station. Yet, here we are, we're supposed to subsidize an EV gas station and pay 20% of it. I just don't think it is a good use of taxpayer dollars.
Thank you, Supervisor Brandon.
In the future, maybe.
Thank you, Supervisor Brandon. Any other discussion on this? I'm not sure what you're asking today.
Well, what I'm asking today is the Board of Supervisors, with partnership with Universal Solar Enterprises with the grant to install these charging stations that's probably in the near future is going to be needed in our society. And I respect the gentleman's concerns. Tesla, speaking on Tesla now have charging station level 2s that I know, because my company is about to install 20 of them at a hotel in Brandon that any car could charge on. They made some changes. So any car will be able to charge on this particular Tesla. It's a level 2, 60 kilowatt charging station.
And Tesla's not here asking us for money.
I understand. What I'm asking you for is investment. That's what I'm asking, an investment, because the charging station will make money.
All right. I think we got what you're asking for. Other statements from the board? Are there any motions? All right, I think at this time that we're gonna pass
Okay, thank you.
as far as being a partner. All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Cleveland.
All right.
All right, next on the agenda, I think we have the public hearing. Mr. Weeks?
He coming in.
Comcast is next.
Comcast, Ronnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do see Ronnie up here. I'm sorry, Ronnie, I didn't mean to overlook you. I was trying to get on down the road there.
No problem.
All right, Ronnie, Comcast.
Yes.
Broadband. Come up, man, introduce
Yes.
who's with you and.
I'll introduce myself first. My name is Ronnie Colvin. I'm Senior Director of External Affairs for Comcast. And first, let me just say thank you for the opportunity to all the members of the board, the staff, and Attorney Espy for allowing us to come in today and update the county on our Phase 1 broadband build in Northeast Madison County. Before I have with me, and I'll kind of just quickly introduce everyone, on my far left is Donovan Brown. He's the Vice President of Construction for our region and will ultimately be the overseer of this project. And also Melinda Little on my immediate left. She is the Vice President of External Affairs for Comcast, and she and I work on a daily basis. We also have some members of the construction team, Mike Edwards and Robert Rodriguez. And also, I think some of you may know Jessica Gunter. She and I work together here locally, and we're kind of the local face for Comcast. Before I turn it over and for the update, I wanted to publicly thank Supervisor Griffin and certainly Supervisor Steen and Attorney Mike Espy. You've been very helpful to get us to the point where we are today. I mean, we've got a successful BEAM grant thanks to your help. From letters of support, and certainly anytime we've had any permit issues or anything that has stalled the project, we've been able to reach out and get those untangled. So I just wanted to publicly thank you for all your help to get us to this point where we are. So I'd like to turn it over to Melinda and to Donovan today. They're going to give you an update, and I understand we've got a committee meeting this afternoon where we'll dive a little deeper into everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
I'm a little shorter than Ronnie. Good afternoon. My name is Melinda Little, or good morning, I guess. My name is Melinda Little. I'm Vice President of External Affairs. And to echo Ronnie's sentiments, thank you all so much for your partnership. It's been really incredible, and we're so excited to be here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a high-level update on where we are and how we got here, and then Donovan's going to dive in more into the details on the build and the permitting, and then we'll get really into the details this afternoon afterwards. So, as you know, we initially did a BEAM application with the state on August of 2023. So it's been almost a year since we submitted that grant. And our final BEAM application was accepted, and we have about 3,300 total locations in that. That equates to about 3,736 passings. So a location might have multiple homes within that, so like an MD, multi-dwelling unit. The total project cost is $17,320,870 to be exact, and we got a BEAM subsidy of $4.9 million, along with the subsidy from the county of $4.8 million, and then we're putting about a little over $7.5 million into that project. So this year, we are committing to, by the end of the year, have built 54.4 miles of plant. We'll activate 645 locations in housings 7 and 9, and we have a map that we'll show you later today.
By the end of the year?
By the end of this year, yes, sir. 645, and we'll complete our tie-in point to the Cabinet and Canton, and we'll spend an additional $1 million to the $2.6 million that we've already spent. Next year, we expect to have 85% of the locations completed by mid-2025, and with the goal of having everything completed by the end of next year. The last little bit will be finalizing, making sure speed tests are going, all those things that we need to do to be able to show the state that we've completed our commitment. One of the things that we'll do as we get to the mid part of next year is we want to do a big laptop giveaway event with you all and partner with you, and we'll work with you to identify the location. And we've done this in Bolton Edwards, where we partnered with the school in the area and we gave out a bunch of laptops. In addition, we want to partner with you to identify a location for us to have a lift zone. Our lift zones are where we set up, work with the community partner, set up Wi-Fi connectivity, where people can come for free and get online. But again, we want to partner with you to identify the right location so it's serving the people that need it the most. With that, unless you have any questions, I want to turn it over to the guy that's actually building it, who can talk about where we are with permit status, et cetera, and how we're going. So Donovan Brown?
Hold on
yes.
a second, Ms. Little, I do have, I'm just kind of
Oh, sir.
follow up just real quick on the completion date. You say by year end of this year.
We'll have 645 passings.
Okay.
And then next year, we will complete the total project.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning to the board. Wanted to come in and just give you a quick update on where we are on permitting and our construction. So our permitting, we have 84% of our permits in our hands. We have about 2% that is going through drafting for submittal, and we have about 13% that is still waiting for approval. That is with Energy and MDOT that we're working through to get those permits in there. We have a business partner that is here. They have the resources to make the commitments that we've outlined to you with the 600 passings. And we continue to push forward to get our fiber tie to our cabinet, and then work over those two housings to deliver the passings as we committed for the end of the year. From there.
Okay, and this is all concerning phase one, which is northeast Madison County.
Yes, you're, Supervisor Steen, that's exactly correct. And I spoke with Greg this morning. We've got a map that we'd like to put on the county's website at some point that kind of shows the progression and how it will progress as we, as we actually have boots on the ground building the plant and so on and so forth. But you are correct. That's phase one in the northeast portion.
Right. It's taken us a while to get to where we are today, but it sounds as if we definitely looking at a completion date within within a year.
That's correct.
And that's great. But in the meantime, we have phase two that's being worked on at this point, which is mostly in the northwest part of the county, in which we can also include other areas as well, because it's an early stage. Am I correct on that, Mr. Banks?
There is actually a survey out now to try to figure out where we do not have internet access in this county, and those are the areas that I assume this board, in conjunction with Wagner Engineering, will look at adding to phase two. We have a general idea and a general map now. We are in the process of nailing down the specifics.
Okay, and that should be back in front of us 60 days, 90 days?
I would say 90 days just to be safe. If we can do it sooner than 90 days, we absolutely will.
And we're looking at everywhere else in the county?
Correct.
That does not have broadband?
Correct.
Okay.
When you say it in the county, you mean outside of cities?
Well, I want to clarify that.
Yeah.
Is that included inside the municipalities, or can we include those?
We certainly could. I suspect there will be a bunch of paperwork involved in terms of interlocals and cooperative agreements, et cetera, but I do believe the current map includes some areas inside of a municipality or two. Yes, sir.
Well, it probably should, I guess, to a degree, because I know I've received a call from a city and asked, for a certain area to be included as well. And so if we need to do that, we need to do that, it sounds like now, to get in touch with you, Mike.
I just say a word.
Yes.
I want to remind the board that we have one action item to review on this, and that is the review of the broadband committee. So the broadband committee was established over 2 years ago.
Right.
To review all of this work, and we had vacillations, fits, starts.
Right.
And some members of the committee aren't here anymore. We had Wagner Engineering on the committee, we had the former administrator, the CFO was not, it may be. So you need to review you need to update the county broadband committee and authorize it. 'Cause we had several meetings outside of the board formal meeting. So we need
that on down
we need to
on the list?
authorize the broadband committee.
Is that on the agenda, Mike?
I thought it'd be, I sent an email to everybody and said we needed to do this, but it's part of this discussion. Because we're gonna be meeting after the board meeting adjourns in the next room.
Yeah, I didn't see it on the committee, on the agenda, but anyway, we'll do that as well. And, Ronnie, we want to thank you for, continuing to head this up for Madison County.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, we've had some stops and goes but we have been very persistent, as y'all have as well, to get us where we are today.
Yeah, and I will say, there's a lot of back office that sometimes you can't see just by getting the amount of, the volume of permits. You're talking about building about 350 miles of plant, and anytime we have to get on a power pole, we have to apply for those permits, and then there's been permits with MDOT and others that we've had to, and then you had to walk out the entire project area and design it, and we've got a piece of property we've purchased, so it's just a lot of back office that has got us up to this point, and I don't think, again, the beam application, from August to now, so we've got that part done, so that's a milestone right there that we can check. And I did want to say that we got the constituent's address there, and we'll look into that. We got the right people on that, because everybody that's construction is here today, so we'll take a look at that.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Question, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
And I'm asking this straight for a lot of my constituents in my area. When are they, and you might have said it, but I missed it, when are they gonna be able to drive around and see Comcast working, putting up fiber? How close are we to that? Because all what we're doing now, they don't care about it. They just want to see that fiber going up.
All right, I'm going to let Donovan tell you, but I will say, our plan is to build 54 miles of fiber plant between now and the end of this year. And that's about 645 locations. And again, locations, it may have more than one home. So we may be passing a little over 700 homes and businesses. And again, we'll have that committed. We're committing today to do that and have that done by the end of the year. So, it should be very soon. Donovan, do you have anything to add?
Before he come up and
Yes, sir.
tell me that date, the next question is, and Mike, on our contract that we have right now with Comcast, what do we have to amend, or do we have to amend anything? The contract, is that contract still good? And date-wise, what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think the contract is September the 6th, I believe, of 2025 is the expiration date on that. Is that right, Attorney Espy? So I think that, again, because we have had a pause and the time that is, that is taken to get the beam application worked through all of the channels there, I would say, we would like to amend that to have that to 12/31 of 2025. So just 3 extra months is basically what we're asking for. Just to, again, that gets us through a testing period and in reconciling, since this will be a state grant as well as a county grant, and then the Comcast portion.
Deadlines are the same, pretty much, but there's some terms and conditions that need to be updated that we talked about over
That's correct.
email. One's the county contribution. You remember in the contract, it said the county would put in $10 million of ARPA money. That's in the contract.
That's correct.
So that's no longer true. We put in 4.9 million. So that has to be changed.
That's correct.
And
our contribution portion
yeah,
went up.
of course. So that's what we're going to be talking about later. Yeah.
So we should have that on the agenda at the next board meeting. Okay, good deal.
Okay.
Donovan?
Let's hear this big date now, when we gonna get in our vehicle and drive by and go see Comcast either putting up fiber or whatever. Then it's for real then. It'll be for real.
Our goal is within the next 60 days, and all of that is dependent on receiving the permits that we're working through. Our first goal is to get the fiber tie into our cabinet that's on Peace Street, I believe it is.
You got to build that?
Yes, sir. We have to build that 2 miles, and then we will extend, as Ronnie stated, the 54 miles that we're committed to in those 2 housings to get you to the 645 homes. Then you'll start to see more construction in those 2 areas of our trucks on a daily basis working to get fiber in the air, so we can start to deliver those services to meet the commitments that we just outlined for the end of December.
Okay, so what you all calling that? What you gonna build out there on Peace Street? I call it a hole, but I think it got nicknamed that. But what is the official name for that?
We call it a hub or a cabinet,
okay.
Yes, sir. And that is where our main distribution is out to the community, and then we bring all of our fiber feeds into that general location.
Y'all can't build that at the same time, work on putting up all the other lines?
Well, that's one of the things we want to talk to you about. There are some permits that we're waiting on and have been waiting on for some time, and we can go over that this afternoon. We'd like ask you for some assistance on that, and we'll discuss that this afternoon if that's okay. And, but we have purchased the property, everything. We had a draftsman draw everything out, and like I said, we're ready to place that hub on that piece of property right now. So we're just waiting on some final permits.
All right. My next question is, who gonna be our ground person here in Madison County, our contact person?
Jessica Gunter.
Construction now.
And myself, I'm just saying, if there's I wanted to start with any kind of escalations. Let's just say something, something happens and a constituent comes to you with a question, you go to us and let us try to, to untangle that. If there'll be, we have a business partner, as Donovan mentioned, and they'll have a local construction contact. That's normally, we'll bring them in once they're set up here, and that we'll introduce you and the board to the local construction folks. And Robert Rodriguez, he's the Comcast person who is, intimately involved with this project on a day in, day out basis as well. So he'll be in the meeting this afternoon, so we'll give you his contact information. So you'll have Jessica, myself, Robert, and his boss is Mike Edwards. He's a director of construction, and of course you'll know Donovan as well. So if there's something that needs immediate attention, I would say start with one of us first, and then if it's just a general question, we'll have a construction manager over this project that you can go to as well.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for the update. And as far as the committee, and we're looking at the committee now for phase 2. Is that correct, Mike, primarily? Or is it to continue on phase 1? Okay.
Everything going forward from today.
Okay. All right. On the committee, I'm very much open, as far as a motion to whoever need be, would like to continue to be on that committee.
We was, I think, Shelton was there, so Greg definitely,
Right.
CFO, a lawyer, myself, and we can't have but 2 supervisors. And
Right.
one of them just stepped out that phase 2 gonna be involved in. But I definitely want myself on it until we get further down the line on phase 1.
Why don't we just include Carl while he's out?
Yeah.
And because most of it in phase 2 is going to be in his district, and he definitely needs to be updated. So, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second that motion. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Mr. Banks, you're on the committee, and no discussions at this point.
Yeah, I know.
So, but I would also ask any of the board members that if they have areas that they have received phone calls on as far as trying to get broadband, to touch base with one of the committee members, supervisors or Greg, and let them know what area to ensure that it gets, it would get looked at and included in phase 2.
One more, Gerald. We should have had Wagner engineer on there.
Wagner should be in there as well. So you amend your motion?
Yeah.
I'll second that, and so we included Wagner, if that's okay with other board members.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
All right.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank
See
you
y'all this
very
afternoon.
much. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, now we'll make sure where we are with the public hearing. Okay, Scott? Andy? Do I have a motion to go into the public hearing?
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. We are now in public hearing on item 4.
Yes, sir. Just by way of introduction, there's been an appeal filed by Mr. Don McGraw on behalf of Mr. Dave Thind. This is a rezoning application, rezoning this particular property to C2. It was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission with conditions that the rezoning be approved, but no liquor store be allowed to be placed on the property. And that is the basis of Mr. McGraw's appeal, and that's what he's here today to discuss with you all. If there are any questions for me at this time, I'd be happy to address those.
Where is this location?
This is, Don will be able to give you the exact location. I think.
It's down on the south end of Nissan Drive where old Jackson Road comes across the interstate there. It's a little triangle right there in that corner.
Is this District 5? What Kangaroo? Is Poland and Con?
Kangaroo's further south, I think, down there. I'm not sure. I think that's right. Oh. I don't think that's Kangaroo right there.
Is this District 5 or District 2?
Four.
Well, he's saying it was in 2.
I looked at the map and I thought it was in 2, and the notes said it was in 2, so.
I don't have no idea where it's at.
South end of Old Jackson there is 4. That's 4. Yeah, it's 4.
It's 4.
Okay, well.
I just have no idea where
The
it
minutes
is.
are, I believe the minutes for the P&Z meeting said it was in 2.
Our viewer shows it in 4. It's right there at the intersection of Nissan Parkway and Old Jackson.
Nissan Parkway and Old Jackson.
Yeah, so
That's
essentially
4.
the opposite end that we heard about dust earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know where that is.
It's right there on the east side of the interstate there.
Yeah, yeah. Right across from the, next door to the came in that didn't want it there in the first place. Okay, I know where it is. Yeah, okay. You can proceed.
Okay, Don.
All right, so like Andy said, I represent Mr. Dave Thind, and we did get approved to put a convenience store there on this site. And part of what Mr. Thind was asking for was to be able to put a wine and spirit / liquor store in part of the building. The neighborhood complained about that, and a lot of their complaints were that they thought there'd be vagrants and things hanging around the liquor store, which we totally disagreed with. And we think that, of course, the store would be open under pursuant to state hours, 10 in the morning till 10 at night. The convenience store hours, I think, are going to be from 6 in the morning till 11 at night. So we don't see any reason why a liquor store wouldn't be appropriate on that site. It's allowed within the C2 district, so we're asking that that the ruling of the Planning and Zoning Board be overturned.
Now, to put a liquor store there first in outside the city limits, then we've got to we've got to apply for this property to be a resort area. Is that true?
Probably had to go through ABC to get that done.
You know, heck, they didn't want the convenience store there, and they definitely don't want a liquor store there. None of the neighbors are here today, so they probably did not know. Oh, you here? You know where it is? I forgot y'all know where it is. Right across from your nephew's house? Okay. Okay, we're in a public hearing now, so I guess you making a presentation for the particular entity that you represent. So I guess it's time for us to open up, and for those who are against can say.
Well, I want to make sure that, Don, are there anything else that you want to say on this?
Well, there's not much more to say. I mean, it's, the neighbors do object to it. I met with them one day down there trying to go through what we could do, and we did come to some agreement as far as putting up a privacy fence. And they, at one point, my client had a diesel pump laying in there so big trucks could come in. We agreed that he would not do that.
Let me ask Don a question. Are you asking for just for the store to go there? Or are you asking for the store and the liquor store? What is your petition?
It's, well, we want the store there, and we also want the liquor store on the end of it. So.
Yeah, basically what I saw on the P&Z minutes is they converted it to C2 with 3 exceptions: no liquor store, no diesel island for the big trucks, and they wanted to raise their 6-foot fence to an 8-foot fence, and so they're appealing the liquor store aspect of the restrictions on the zoning.
Okay. I got a question for Andy. Okay, is it okay if I call you Atticus Finch?
Sure. I think me and Ronnie are gonna open an ice cream stand.
Good book. What's the process here? If we were to approve this liquor store, then he goes to ABC and gets resort status, or resort status first, and then how does that work?
Don't know that it really matters, to be honest with you, but the site plan is what you guys are, we're rezoning is what you're approving along with the site plan. So, you know, if you want to call it chicken before the egg or egg before the chicken, whatever, all you're approving is the structure and what's allowed to go there. ABC and all that other is a completely separate process for them to get.
If we approve the site plan, he goes to ABC and then comes back to us, or he's free to go?
No, he's free to go once he gets his ABC permit. He's off and running as completely separate process, completely separate document.
Is there any potential ABC denying him after we approved it?
I guess that would be up to them, but I think what they would be looking for is like, you know, things like proximity to schools, churches, any of those types of things, which I don't see that being a concern here with the distance that it is.
Okay. Thank you.
And by way of clarification, Supervisor Baxter, this is District 2. It's right on the line.
Don't tell Carl that. He was handling this. God bless, man.
So,
It does butt up to District 4, though. That piece of property is the line.
Yeah.
Between 2 and 4. I apologize.
Well, he's got seniority.
There you go.
Okay, are there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of? Okay, if not, anyone like to speak in opposition of? Yes, ma'am. Come up and state your name, give your address again. And 2 minutes, please.
I'll do it in 30 seconds. My name is Cynthia D. Allen, 1891 West P Street in the great city of Canton, Mississippi. I'm against it, not because I don't want anybody to have business, but it is in close proximity, less than a mile from Harvey Chapel Missionary Baptist Church. On top of that, we already have people driving down from Amazon like they're in Batson, H-E-L-L. Now they're going to add a liquor store element to that where they can stop and get them a drink before they go to work or come and grab from work. It's going to cause more traffic and make our neighborhood more unsafe. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anyone else in opposition? If not,
Very brief clarification, Supervisor Baxter, thank you to Chief Moak, who has superior knowledge in this area than I do. If this is approved with the liquor store, then the resort status would come back to be approved before you guys. But as far as the permitting and all that, no, that's ABC, but the resort status would be you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Do I have a motion to, well, Mr. Grawl, do you need to say anything else before we close the public hearing?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I can move to close the public
Supervisor
hearing.
Banks, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Baxter, discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All
I'd like
right,
to
what's
make-
the wishes of the board?
I'd like to make a motion to deny the appeal.
Okay, got a motion on the table to deny by Supervisor Banks, got a second by Supervisor Brandon, discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Okay.
Okay, it has been denied. All right, consent items. Are there any items that the board would like to move on consent? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
Move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, do I have a second? I'll second it, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we'll go down to the business items. Then we got a request for a tax exemption. What's that? Not sure how to pronounce that first name. Nami, come on up then. State your name and give your address, please.
Kathleen Seberg. I actually live in Brandon, but I'm here for NAMI, Mississippi, which is at 298 Commerce Street in Ridgeland.
Okay. Mike, have you looked at that?
Yes, it fits all of the qualifications that we look for on the form. It's a nonprofit, it's a mentally ill foundation, and they have a federal tax number, so it fits everything that we require.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, thank you.
All right, Mr. Tim Bryant, County Engineer.
First item I bring before you is the traffic study that the board authorized Kaiser Traffic and Engineering to do for the area of Highway 22 and Livingston Vernon, Stokes Road, Cedar Hill area. You're getting the B team to do this today. Jonathan is on a well-deserved vacation with his wife, so
Okay.
I'm going to be trying to go through this for you, or as much as you want me to, anyway. So, do you want me to go through the full study?
Yeah, we'd like for you
Okay.
to hit the high points anyway.
All right. Well, as we all know, it's not the best situation out there with the curve and the roads coming in at a skew, but the existing conditions, he went out there and he did he did turning movement counts at Livingston Vernon, at Stokes, Livingston Vernon, Highway 22 at Stokes, and then Cedar Hill. So you've got 55 mile an hour speed limit on Highway 22 with a 45 mile an hour speed advisory sign. So you've got a 55 mile an hour speed limit. 45 miles an hour advisory sign is just that. It's an advisory sign. It's not enforceable. So you got a 55 mile an hour speed limit sign, which is probably not being adhered to. You've got Cedar Hill Road coming in at a skew of about 140 degrees. You've got Livingston Vernon coming in at a skew of about 148 degrees. typically you want a road coming in to another road at a 90-degree angle. And with that big of a skew, it's hard for people coming in the really skewed angle to make that turn. So what that has done is, as you go through the study, you get to crash data, and over a 10-year period in there, you have 48 crashes over a 10-year period. 25% of those crashes are deer-related crashes, where people have hit deer. So there's, I don't know that that's intersection related. It's just
right
dealing with animals. 21% of the crashes, or 10 of those, has to do with stopping or slowing down. That's directly related to the skew. So what Jonathan has come up with is there were two alternatives he came up with. One is to add flashing lights on 22. That's lights that would come on and let folks know that people are sitting at the side streets. And they would come on and let people on 22 know, hey, there's traffic on the side streets. But the problem with that is MDOT is not a big fan of them and does not want them and is not willing to maintain them. So it's really not an option. So the only real option is in Figure 5 of the study, which is to realign Livingston Vernon and Cedar Hill. So Livingston Vernon would come out at a 90-degree angle. Stokes would be cul-de-saced. It would not even come out onto 22 anymore. And Livingston Vernon coming out where it does now, where people coming west come off of 22 flying, would not be there anymore. So if you're coming west, you would have to you would slow down and make a traditional right turn. So there would be a right turn there so that you could get off of 22 and slow down and actually make a right. And so it would help the whole area through there. So those were his general recommendations for making it as safe as possible without totally realigning 22. So that's the high points. Any questions?
Questions?
What was your suggestion? Realignment of, I'm sorry.
Realigning Livingston Vernon. Right now, Livingston Vernon comes in almost, if you're going west, it's almost easier to stay on Livingston Vernon than it is to make the curve on 22 going towards Flora.
You got an estimation on cost estimation?
Well, to do that one section without doing the Cedar Hill part, you're looking at, depending on right-of-way cost, around $400,000 to do that. If we could swap out right-of-way for right-of-way, it'd be less, but somewhere in there.
How does this align with the MDOT plans that we saw the last time this came up?
I don't think MDOT has any plans out there currently.
There was a map where they basically straightened everything out.
Well, that was a recommendation that we had.
Oh, okay. I'm not mistaken.
And to be honest with you, I don't see them doing anything about 22 in that section. This plan that, in terms of changing and realigning where Livingston Vernon comes into 22, creating a full 90-degree turn from off 22 back to Livingston Vernon, slows down the traffic completely. Also, there's they're in the right-of-way, along the right-of-ways of 22. The trees and other rubbish are doing a lot with the sight in sight distance for people traveling along 22. So the plan shows, and what he came up with, Jonathan came up with, was to realign where Cedar Hill, how it comes into 22, to create the same type of 90-degree angle as well as Livingston Burnham. Not necessarily doing both of them at the same time, but could possibly do both of them at the same time. And the other is just really trimming trees, which has a minimal cost. The cost is going to be just on the realignment and dealing, of course, the landowner. I believe the landowner will work with us on that. He lives out there, and he will understand the safety issue that we're trying to create a safer interchange right here. And if we got some right away from him and gave up the right of way we have, abandoned that right of way, it goes back to him. At least half of it does. Center line to his property, it would look like to me almost equal itself out in terms of right of way. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But this plan is a plan that needs to happen just from a safety standpoint. Okay.
And that's what I was going to ask, as just putting everything else aside. If this plan happens as far as these two roads that we're talking about, what will that do to help with safety?
Oh, it would make it much safer, especially, I mean, just cleaning out the right-of-way, as Supervisor Banks talked, that would help out with the deer situation. You know, the deer are in the edge of the woods and jump out, and, you know, it at least gives you more room to see the deer. And in addition to that, you've got the curve there, and the more you can see, the less vegetation, the farther you can see around the curve. So all of that helps.
Okay, with that being said, let's go back to the commercial development aspect of the property, the amount of property that's out there to be developed. As far as commercial, is that a good bit zoned that way?
Oh, man, that's a Scott question.
Yeah, that's
and the reasoning that I'm asking is, yeah, it's all about safety.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about safety. But once we get that, if we move forward with this, as far as those two roads, then the development, there's more and more development that would probably want to come. If I'm thinking in that
probably correct.
And so if that being said, how much development can we withstand before we get back into a safety issue again?
Straightening out the road, 22.
Well, and that's really where I'm headed with Highway 22.
Mm-hmm.
Would it not be better to work with MDOT to straighten out Highway 22, maybe in the meantime as well?
Oh, I think that would absolutely be a long-term thing that we should look for. But this is a doable thing at this point. It's something that we can do as the county to help alleviate the situation that we have with our road tying into 22.
And that's been cost for 400 what?
It 400,000-ish.
That's just
I can't give you that exactly.
That's just on one road, right?
Yeah,
right, on one road. You know, if you start adding Cedar Hill in, you're going to increase the
But
cost
you're
of
talking
that.
about Cedar Hill, because it wouldn't be good to do just one road and not look at the other.
Right. If you add both roads in there, you're
because that's the whole key is safety right now.
The whole key is to try to make that section of roadway safe. You're exactly right.
Both of them, 800 to $1 million then probably.
All right, are there other questions? Because now may be the time to entertain some other concerned citizens.
What was the Cedar Hill portion? How much is that?
It all depends on what MDOT requires us to do.
Yeah.
If they make us put some additional turn lanes in over what we've got here just because they say, then it's going to increase the price. But if they allow us to do what he's got actually in this, I think it'll be less than 800,000, more like 6.
Be
But
less than what now?
it'll be more like 6 for the whole project, but I have a feeling they're going to want a little bit in addition to what's on this plan.
Okay. Other questions for Tim before we entertain some people that'd like to speak on this topic?
Okay.
If
Well,
not,
I think they want to speak on topic number 55.
Well, we
but
could.
We could be.
That's the site plan.
55 and 51 should be
yeah, go,
somewhat combined.
and we can take them both kind of together.
Because that means the only reason
Yes.
that they're on here is because of this traffic study and because of the intent to try to make the whole area safe. So that's it.
Are there anyone out there that would like to speak on this topic? Yes, sir. Mr. Martin?
Oh,
Yeah, I think.
Well, they're all.
Come on.
Mr. Moak.
I think they all maybe together.
You.
Toby? We're at the point now as just speaking, speaking on the topic in general, whether it's the site plan or the road.
Mm-hmm.
First, thank you, Mr. Bank, for the apology and everything. I understand, you're busy and things are like they are. Be that is, I just have not had time to go over this.
Mm-hmm.
The only things that I did keynote on this was the 46 or 47 crashes, the 31 injuries. I think it was it 16 of them, I think, were rear end collisions. That's your 140 degrees that you're talking about. The others were side swipe. That's going to be turning on to Livingston Vernon, and it's crumbling on the sides and needs widening and stuff. That's all a good concept and everything, but there's 5 lawmen in this room right now that'll tell you right now that no matter what you do to that S curve, somebody's going to get hurt. It's just like Mr. Bryan said, it's a bad situation. And one of their recommendations is to put lights, flashing lights, speed down to 45 miles an hour. That's lipstick on a pig in Madison County. Nobody pays any attention to stop signs. I don't care if the sheriff over here, who does a fantastic job, had 100 deputies or 200 deputies. He nor I were able to watch every stop sign. It's not going to work that way. And then it's going to run 65 and 70 as it normally runs on Highway 22 in an S curve. And I don't care how much you clear the right-of-way out, you're going to get rear-ended, or you're going to have head-ons. I have had to come into the oncoming lane myself at times just to keep from having a wreck. Like I say, Mr. Smith and I had a talk. Look, I understand y'all's trying to build a business. I was in business. Y'all know where I was before I came up here to Madison County. I understand it. But I'm still concerned about that S curve, no matter how much you straighten it out. Good possibility. The problem is that what y'all want to do and still have 8 or 10 crashes, 31 injuries? And the good thing was, it wasn't but, I think 6 alcohol related. And the percentages jumped up since the 2023, in 23. And it's just going to increase in Madison County. Y'all have done such a fine job of getting businesses in here and bringing them down Highway 22 that you're going to have to make a connector road a 4-lane on West County line now. We should have kind of stuck with the idea of taking 22 to north and coming north of Florida and going back into Edwards. My next question is, Highway 22 being a scenic highway, will the Highway Department even straighten that highway out?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Today, like I said, I just haven't had time to digest this and everything. I would hope that we'd all understand that we're just going to take a little breather on this. I do understand the red map. It took me the longest to understand it. I do understand now y'all have the authority to move the to C2. I do understand 17-115. I do understand 17-117 that, 17-117, that you have to have within 15 days, a hearing, public hearing, to make sure that that was done, or take it back to residential. I have asked a lot of people in this room, and they said, sure, it was done, but nobody's showed me anything where it was done.
Now, you're talking about the rezoning.
Rezoning, yeah. Look, if it's rezoned.
After the rezoning.
If it's rezoned, it's rezoned, but nobody yet has shown me where 17-117 was followed. Y'all are great about getting all that done and everything, but I just have not seen it. And I'm old, and I don't even know how to go find it in public hearings and all that. If one of these young folks around here that's got a good job and wants to keep it, show me where it was done, and we'll move on from that. Right. But today, I would like for us to digest this a little more before we start putting 46 crashes out there, 31 injuries, and because it, in my opinion, it is not going to stop it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Anyone else would like to speak?
Good morning, Board. My name's Sam Martin. I live at 128 Stokes Road, Flora. That's Mr. Banks' district. I spoke to you all a few months back, and I appreciate the chance to speak to you all again. I've read the record. I think the record reflects our concerns well. I live within 500 feet or so of this proposed development. Naturally, I have some concerns about a gas station going in next to my home and potentially a dollar store of some sort. I think y'all remember maybe that discussion at one point. We have concerns that it doesn't fit an area that is zoned residential estate up and down Stokes Road, up and down Livingston Vernon Road. But more importantly, the traffic. The traffic is still our main concern. If you look at this traffic study, I thought it was pretty interesting because they really hit on the true case of folks that are driving west there on Highway 22, and I wrote it down. It says, high-angle intersection allows westbound traffic on Mississippi Highway 22 to continue north on Livingston Vernon without having to slow down to turn, thus increasing the speeds on Livingston Vernon Road. Well, the speed limit right there is 55 on 22. I guarantee you, folks are going about 65 or 70 right there. I see it every day. Sheriff, I'm sure you probably have issued some speeding tickets right in there. I'm sure you could. And so, I asked the board to consider these recommended changes. I think that it would help for sure. I don't know that it's going to be the end of having traffic issues out there because it's still going to be an S-curve. But if you all were to approve the site plan before making these changes, you say it's chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken. Honestly, it's just a raw chicken. Until y'all do something to try to fix it out there, we're still going to have the issues. And if you approve the site plan, you're only going to have increased traffic. You're going to have increased heavy traffic at that, concrete trucks, diesel trucks, and whatnot. So it's just going to increase the problem that's already existing. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Barton. Anyone else like to speak? Mr. Moak?
Yep.
Please come up and state your name and give your address, please.
My name is Dwayne Moak. I live at 221 Highland Meadow Road in Mr. Banks' district, just a couple of miles from the site that we're talking about here. There's no need in being redundant on everything that everybody else has said. I think y'all pretty well get the gist of what the points are. I do want to bring up one thing. I don't know when or if, I know Sheriff Trowbridge has yet to be made happy that it was done properly, as far as whether it was zoned, or the zoning is correct or not. But if it was done obviously many years ago. And that area was nowhere near what it is today as far as traffic, and the concerns that we have today were not applicable, I don't think, at that time. And I think it's important that we all, in government and in society as a whole, look at look at changes and look at how we're developing, what directions we're going, and we sometimes have to make decisions that reflect how things are going today, not necessarily how they were 20, 30 years ago. I have a question really whether there even needs to be a commercial area there at all, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. I would actually like to see the board rescind that whole commercial, that C2 zoning in that whole area right there. However, that's Dwayne Moak's personal opinion. I also am a business person, and I understand people's desire to be in business and that we need to have economic growth. And I certainly don't want to say that I'm against that. But I've learned a long time ago that sometimes we're far against things that are our own likes or dislikes, not necessarily what the reason should be. And I'm separating my personal likes or dislikes on whether I think there needs to be a convenience store there or anything else. I'm trying to look at the facts, and the facts are that the traffic, the development has all increased out there in the last 20, 30 years. It's going to continue to develop. Everybody in the world calls me regularly wanting to know if I can find 2 acres in Florida or what's available out there. But I do want to say this. I pulled up the MDOT site. I think it's called their annual average daily traffic count is what they call it, AADTC or something like that. And there is a site just east of the Livingston-Vernon Highway 22 intersection. There's a site east of it where they have a traffic count. It's close to Livingston, not far from Livingston. In 2013, there were 4,100 vehicles on an average. In 2023, they're 5,200. So we're looking at 1,000 average daily vehicles more in that time span, in that 10 years, on the east side of Livingston-Vernon. If you go to the west side of Livingston-Vernon on Highway 22, they have another count. In 23, it was 2,700 vehicles on an average daily basis. And in 23, that was in 13, I'm sorry. And in 23, it was 3,900. So you're talking about going from 2,700 to 3,900. So those numbers alone indicate the traffic and the issues that are going to continue to plague that area out there until something is done with this intersection. I agree that making those Cedar Hill intersection and the Livingston-Vernon intersection as 90-degree intersections probably is a step in the right direction, don't get me wrong. That S-curve is tremendously dangerous. You could take Mr. John Anderson's, the trees that are there along the edge by his house, you could trim them back. And I'm not disagreeing with Supervisor Banks that needs to be done, but that curve is so sharp. And many people don't realize how, with all the new people out that way, they don't realize how sharp those curves are. There have been rollovers of dump trucks, I think, here the last year or so. I think, Sheriff, they had a 1050 out there. It's just a bad, bad, dangerous situation. Saying that, out of due respect for the business entity that's wanting to move there, I just don't feel like, from my past profession as well as my personal stance at this point in time, that this needed or should be allowed in that area.
Okay. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Or is there anyone else who would like to speak on this topic? Okay.
May I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Bryan and I were talking about it. Regardless how it works out, everything, I'd ask for y'all about that cul-de-sac. Be very mindful of Mr. John Anderson.
Yeah.
He's 89 years old. His house is right across 22. He uses that road to get to his shop or his office. If you make him come out of that driveway, and that's in the curve. That is in the first eastbound curve on 22. If you make him come out on that 22 in a 90-degree turn to the right, then a 90-degree turn to the left, I fathom what he just does make it across that road. Now, and I hope he doesn't watch this on TV. 'Cause I tried to take him to lunch a few days in my vehicle, and after a couple of days, he said, I want to drive my own vehicle, so fine. A lot of difference between 71 and 88 right now, but please be mindful of that.
Okay.
Also, as Dwayne Moak was talking about, that's not a long, drawn-out S-curve. That is a short, strong S-curve, and even your 90 degrees in there, I don't know, and I don't know if there's any numbers that show that I don't think you probably have 150 feet in the curve before you, even if you cleared everything out, before you get to one of those intersections. And if you're doing 65 miles an hour, you're not going to get it shut down in that length of time. And that's during the day, all those, I think 70 or 80% were daytime crashes. That's not night crashes.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Toby. All right,
Okay.
wishes of the board. I tell you, let's first go ahead and acknowledge the traffic study.
Okay, I'll make that motion to acknowledge the traffic study
All right,
and
you
the
got a
Kaiser
motion.
report.
We got a motion to acknowledge traffic study?
Yeah.
Still got someone to speak.
Well, this is not about the site plan.
Yeah, this traffic.
This is just about
Just
traffic
the
study. We're gonna
traffic
get to the
study.
site plan right after this,
Yeah.
unless you want to speak to the, okay. We got a motion on the table to acknowledge the traffic plan.
Second.
We got a second by Supervisor Griffin. Discussion? The traffic study. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Now, we're gonna go to the site plan. Now, we're gonna go ahead and take the site plan
okay.
up now, while we're in the middle of this.
Yeah, item 55.
Yeah, so item 55, we're gonna go ahead and take that up with Scott or Andy, one of y'all, or we want to take the item 55.
Right. This is the site plan for the Stokes Road Shell. This was approved in January by the Planning and Zoning Commission. That decision was appealed, and the public hearing on the matter was back in March. At the conclusion of that public hearing and after it was closed, you all did not take any action on the site plan itself, but instead what you did was you placed a moratorium on any building permits out in that area. So at this point, the site plan is still at your feet, I guess you'd say, as well as the moratorium is still in place. The decision on the moratorium was also appealed to the circuit court and is also is still on appeal at this point. So whatever you guys decide to do when you take that up, you've already heard the public hearing on the matter of the site plan. So the decision, I guess, today, should you decide to make one, would be on the moratorium and or the site plan. So if there's any questions for me, feel free to ask.
All right, and I think we hear you clear that we do have a moratorium, and is there a certain time that we put on that moratorium?
I do not think that there was any time limits
Okay.
put on that.
All right, and we can address, board members, we can address that now if we choose to, and then that will tell us whether we go further or not.
That's correct.
So why don't we just address the moratorium at this point?
Well, I made the motion for the moratorium basically to try to see if I could make the, area safer, find out what provisions, what can we do to make this intersection safe as possible. I believe Mr. Kaiser, Jonathan Kaiser, did a good job. And making it a 90-degree turn, I think, has to make it safer. I talked about putting four-way stop up there at Stokes and Livingston Vernon, and I don't know if that's going to be necessary, but possibly that may be added. But from what I see and what he's done, I'm satisfied with the fact that it is safer. You know, so, and that was what the moratorium is about.
Right.
Now, as far as the site plan, we went through questions about whether or not this was actually supposedly C2 zoning. And of course, on our map and everything, we have it as C2 zoning.
Right.
If you look, even Mr. Kaiser, when he was taking pictures out there, he took pictures of the old service station, which is a part of this site, which the new owners have intentions on cleaning that, tearing that down, which will also give some more help in terms of site for the intersection of Stokes and Livingston Vernon. But that in itself, that picture is evidence of that was commercial activity on that property. Now, I don't know what the board had in the minutes, and I wasn't on the Board of Supervisors during that period of time.
When was that?
It was a long time ago. But I know that our minutes and things we did have been constantly improving over time. But in '84, we didn't have the same type of computers and things like that we're using today, and that was done in the '70s, I understand. Well, I know they didn't have computers then. A lot of things we saved on what they call microfiche, and it took it out to Vital Records out here in Florida, and I don't know what happened to all that stuff. But anyway, so I'm satisfied that the zoning is proper. That I'm very satisfied the zoning is proper. The negotiations with the other neighbors on aspects of the lighting and those things, I think they can, bring that back up again. But I have no issue with the zoning. I guess I've been around here the longest, as you said earlier, and I passed that store for many years. And so I know that is commercial property. Okay, now we can let the attorney for the.
Okay, let's talk about the site plan then. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Annie's correct in that when we were here before on the site plan, the board's decision in the minutes, Mr. Banks did second to suspend issuance of building permits at the intersection of Livingston Vernon Road and Stokes Road until the realignment of Highway 22 is addressed. We've appealed that decision. It's in the circuit court now. We've gotten a couple of months extension so we don't have to write our briefs trying to get this worked out. I totally understand the safety and the traffic concerns that have been expressed here today. I'm not going to sit here and say anything different. But I think Mr. Banks, and if this board were to vote for it, has done a yeoman's job to address it as much as you possibly can at this time with the traffic study. And it would make this area safer. There's no doubt about it. The engineer said that. I think the study shows that. Keep in mind also, my client's property is not on 22. My client's property doesn't have any access to 22. My client's property is right here. This blue line is Highway 22. So there will be no access onto or exit from my client's property with respect to Highway 22.
That takes away, I think, a lot of the safety arguments that have been made. It's just no access to 22. The higher rated numbers of traffic trips, the higher speed, none of that comes into play with respect to my client's property, because people coming to my client's business would not come off of 22, they would not go on to 22. And with the 90-degree turns, that even helps it even that much more. As Mr. Moak said, we've all got likes and dislikes. And I understand some people don't like this store going where it's proposed to go. But I also understand there's something that's more important. And that's keeping the laws of this county, this state, and this country. That's more important than my likes, your likes, anybody else's likes. And the fact is that in 2019, when you adopted your new comprehensive plan and your new zoning ordinance, yes, you did give notice. You can check with Scott and Andy. Yes, you did publish, and yes, you did adopt your comprehensive plan and your zoning ordinance pursuant to that hearing and notice. That zoned my client's property C2. Now, I'm reading from your ordinance. Section 2201, land uses permitted. The following uses are permitted outright in C2 districts subject to regulations prescribed herein. G, under section 2201, says convenience stores. So I just submit to you that in the midst of everything, and in the midst of all the arguments, safety, traffic, doesn't fit, likes, dislikes, the law I submit to you today, gentlemen, that you're required to follow is the one you adopted in 2019. My client's property, with all due respect, is allowed to be used for convenience stores. You've heard me say this before. If you put yourself in my client's position and you read this ordinance, what is the basis to deny his application? It doesn't fit. I don't like it. Highway 22 is not safe when we don't even touch Highway 22. Everybody in this country has a right to use their property for its lawfully zoned use. Ask Mr. Espy. He won't deny that statement. And that's all we're asking for you to do for us today, is allow us to use our property for its lawfully zoned use under your existing land use plan and zoning ordinance. And I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Other questions for Mr. Smith? If not, anyone else?
Am I allowed to speak again?
Just 2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes.
2 minutes, Dwight.
2 points. I agree that the business that he's looking at putting in is not directly on Highway 22, but I think in our general discussion, we've all talked about that area right there. Anything that's done in that area is going to affect that area, regardless if it's located on 22 or whatever. And number 2, I'm not an attorney by any means, but I would think that yes, that they say a convenience store is authorized in a C2, but it's hard for me to understand that a governmental entity doesn't have discretion to look at other factors that come into play that either mitigate or are a detriment to what's written in those guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Mike?
I'd just like to advise the board that this matter is in the circuit court based on Mr. Banks' motion that was passed for the moratorium. This board was sued on its prior action. Since that time, we referred this matter to Massett, and Charles Cowan was assigned by Massett to be counsel, and I'm associate counsel on the matter. The status of it, and usually we discuss these things in executive session, but I just want to be on the record today. So Mr. Cowan is the appointed massive counsel. All the lawyers have talked, and there was a moratorium between the lawyers to file documents because the traffic study was still being done. Traffic study had not been approved yet. Mr. Banks was in discussion with others. We were in discussion with Mr. Beatty's lawyer. And so we decided to do nothing until something had to be done. So there was a moratorium on the litigation. I don't want to say anything more because we could discuss this in executive session.
Right.
And I want to caution you as to what you should say publicly because we are in active litigation.
Right. Discussion from the board?
Yeah, who's the, I know we're one of the litigating parties. Who's the other one? Is it Smith?
It's Mr. Rob, Mr. Beatty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're the attorney on the opposing in litigation?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
One thing I would, and this is not in court, so litigation, Andy,
Victor.
I want to make sure, if I could, we as a board on the zoning, and I heard Mr. Smith, and I wrote down a couple things on the zoning part. So it was rezoned in 2019 to C2, and we had a public hearing.
Let me explain a little bit about that, and
Please do.
Y'all may want to put a time limit on me. You know, I get to talking sometime. Back in, as far as we can find, the 60s, the legislature allowed what's called comprehensive zoning. At that point, for lack of a better term, decisions were made at key areas, intersections around the county, where comprehensive zoning was done. In other words, you can take this intersection right here, and that's going to be commercial, here, there, and all spots around the county. Sheriff Trowbridge is right. We cannot find a set of minutes or a newspaper article where that was formally done.
In 1960s.
Back in the 60s, right. But we can find, I believe, back as far as, I want to say the mid-70s, we got an old nasty sticky map over there that nobody even wants to touch because it gets sticky stuff all over you, that shows that property as C2, as well as all zoning ordinances, zoning maps from that time forward where there were public notices, public hearings, including the last one, which was in December of 2019. So based on that, I'm confident, as Mr. Banks stated, that there's no question in my mind that the property is zoned C2 and has been for quite some time.
Right.
So if that answers your question.
It does, maybe with one follow-up. What we did, this board did in 2019 with the public hearing, cleaned up everything from 2019 prior.
That's correct.
As far as zoning.
That's correct.
So it just cleaned it up. In other words, whatever questions might have been in the 60s, 70s, 90s, 2000, the 2019 rezoning public hearing of the county's map cleaned all that up.
Yes.
Okay. That's, and we have copies of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So.
I don't have them in my pocket, but I can get them pretty quick.
I understand, and maybe, Sheriff Trowbridge and Dwayne and Mr. Martin, give them a copy of it and
Sure.
just let them look over it. So that clears the zoning up.
Yes,
as
sir.
far as the county's concerned. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Board members, the other, I think that Mr. Espy was referring to is in litigation, and this is the moratorium that's set there now. We can go in executive session if we like, or anybody would like to say anything outside of executive session. We can move forward like this. So what is your, any thoughts?
My thoughts are safety is an issue. I don't think we can deny it. I'm personally, the zoning is there. I know that there are people who don't want this gas station here. I don't think we should not fix the safety to prevent a gas station. I personally think we should table this entire discussion, talk about spending money to make this safer, maybe possibly get another traffic study once the brush is complete, once the roads are erased and put in 90 degrees, and then revisit and say, hey, this is safe or not safe.
Mr. Lott, that's not a motion at this point.
Not a motion at this point. I'm just bringing it up as a topic of discussion.
Let me give you my thoughts. You know, I understand what you're saying. You know, there's a term that I was told when I first came here about when a municipality or county would decide to not allow someone to use his property as it is zoned. It puts the county in the position where that's called a taking. And if the county did not want to allow a person to use his property the way it's zoned, then the county should write a check and pay for the property. Because other than that, I don't think the county has the authority to block a person from using the property as is zoned.
Counterpoint on that, we just blocked a person from using property the way it was zoned with our liquor store. We voted to uphold restrictions on the liquor store on a property that is obviously zoned.
Well, I mean,
You're
right.
The zoning was made with the restrictions.
Yeah.
This zoning would be made, there are no restrictions on it.
No restrictions.
No restrictions on it.
Well, there's no intent
But
to.
if they built this.
Build a
but
liquor store.
Last time we said, hey, let's make a moratorium until we can make this safer.
Right.
We have an option to make it safer. Should we even be deciding on this until we make it safer?
Well, the plan to go ahead and change these 90, change these angles, though that plan will make it safer.
Yeah.
Now, and my intent would be then to go ahead and next ask for funding, or ask our engineer to go ahead and move forward and getting bids on making those changes.
Yeah, but should we make decisions on this before that happens?
Well, I think that we can, at the same time that we are doing what we are doing, that allows the landowner to move forward with doing whatever necessary plans he has before. I mean, he's got to do some things before he starts building. And that allows him to move forward. So he knows he's got permission to move forward. Our job is to go ahead and do our job.
Our job is to make the situation
Make as safe as we can possibly make it under the conditions in which we have.
So, back to my original point, should we basically make a decision on if we are going to spend money making this safer, and it be a completely irrelevant to the gas station.
Yeah.
We want
Yeah.
to say, yes or no, we want to make this safer for this community, this area.
No matter
If
what.
there's a gas station there or not.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Because, I mean, the amount of accidents in that section all happen without a gas station.
Right.
All right, Mr. Espy, I think it's time for you to intervene.
Yeah, I'm having a fit over here. Here's why. To Mr. Banks' point about taking, to Mr. Brandon's counterpoint about we just did it. Yes, that's true, but we may get sued on what you just did. The difference is we have been sued on this. So the liquor store situation hasn't just stated to the point where we'll be sued because you just did it. So my point is that what Mr. Banks is saying that you replied to, we still may get sued, and that's yet to be seen. Here we have been. And you're going into fine detail of discourse, which is public, and will be in the record, because he's going to ask for what's supplemental to the record, of course. And I'm just saying, don't do this in public. You can go into executive session and talk about this all you like, and then come out and make a decision, but it's not on the record. Now, I know you are a board that likes public disclosure, and that's fine, but we have been sued. We have been sued. And the lawyers cooperated, as I said before, as a warning to this board. The lawyers agreed not to move forward on documents until the traffic study was acknowledged and all of that. So I'm just intervening now, which I don't usually do, because we have been sued. You're making it record, and right now I'm not sure it's positive. I'm not sure it's positive. So I'd say slow down. There was a motion to put this in abeyance. Mr. Banks had talked to responsible parties about the 90-degree turn. I'm not so sure that should be dismissed right now. You don't know what it costs to do this, and you don't know the impact on traffic. Surely there'll be safety improvements if that were done. If you trim the shrubbery and had a cost of the right turn to make it more safe, then at least that would be in the record. It's more safe, it costs X dollars, and if you want to move forward and deny this, fine, but you haven't done it yet. So I'm saying slow down, because we're in litigation and we're in the danger zone on that. We're in the danger zone.
Members hears you loud and clear.
Thank you.
I got a
I don't know
question.
about the other two, but yes, sir.
Cornelius, don't you have a gas station or no gas station? The trees should be trimmed. Don't you have a new machine to do that?
You ain't got it together yet.
We don't own, the board approved the purchase of said machine. We do not have possession of
So
it.
you don't have the capability currently to trim trees? Madison County can't trim trees?
I have nothing to work with. Well, I'm trying to get something now so we can trim trees.
No, just hold tight, I think. All right, I'm gonna put a motion on the table. My motion is going to keep the moratorium in place. That is my motion. Do I have a second?
I second for more discussion.
Remember that we are currently in a lawsuit, and Mr. Espy has mentioned that to
All
us
right, well, I
twice.
hold my discussion.
Move it going.
So I don't-
move it going to.
Well, we got a motion on the table at this point, if Paul keeps his second,
Yep, I keep my second.
to keep the moratorium on. That's what my motion is
Yeah. I
at
second
this
that.
point. Discussion. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay. With, I'm not sure how these other two, you said aye?
I'll go with the moratorium for now, but I would like to go in executive.
You're in
Okay.
executive session now.
All right, we got a moratorium, and yes, it's 4-1, so with that being said, if y'all want to go into executive session afterwards or
Yeah,
now.
let's do the rest of the agenda.
Okay, let's go with the rest of the agenda. All right, let's move on. So far, we have the moratorium still on. So let's go to item 52, please.
Which one? Motion.
All right. On
Give us a
Thursday,
short form and
all right,
let's move
Thursday the
forward.
11th, we received bids on our 3 proposals we had out for Bozeman Road. We got 1 bid for each proposal.
Great.
Our 3 projects that we had was Bozeman Road, the federal project. We got 1 bid for $38,626,968. We got 1 bid for the Bozeman Road project, the non-federal project from 463 to Reunion Parkway. This was for $31,602,789.51. And we got 1 bid for the non-federal project of the Gluckstadt Road intersection improvements project for $5,743,460 even. So with that, I request the board's direction as to which way you all would like to go with this, whether you would like to go with rejecting the bids, taking the federal one, or taking one or both of the 2 non-federal projects.
And the federal one is the walking trail plus all of Phase 1, basically.
Correct. It's the widening from 463 up to Reunion Parkway, a walking trail from 463 to Gluckstadt, and the intersection improvements of Gluckstadt.
I'll make that motion to accept that proposal.
Wait a second. Now,
I got a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second discussion?
What's the total on that project?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
What's the total?
The total of that project?
Yeah.
The total of that project is $38,626,968.
So it went up 300,000 since the last time we bid.
I think it went up about 800,000 since the last time.
Oh, gosh.
But we're at a situation here where if we do not accept this today.
Oh, I agree.
We lose $4.4 million in federal money, which brings it to us paying $38 million instead of 33.5.
I agree.
Well,
That's right.
that and also the other 2 projects total out to $37,346,000. So those 2 together are only 1.3 less.
And they do not include.
And they do not include the 4.4, so you get a better deal.
Split them up, we pay $37 million. If we accept the
failed.
entire project, the Phase 1,
You pay more like 34 million.
we're at 34 million.
Right.
Out of pocket.
With the opportunity to get more federal money.
Yes.
If you
We
take
definitely
the
wanna
other
use federal
2,
monies.
there is no federal money, opportunity for federal money at all.
Yes.
All right, we got a motion on the table. Got a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All
Okay.
right.
So what does that mean from here? Where are we headed?
Next thing we do is ask for concurrence from MDOT, and then we will get a contract with Hemp Hill Construction and go to work.
So when do you expect a shovel to be in the ground?
What's that, July?
Couple of
2
3
months.
months.
When school starts?
Yeah, probably. Well, no, it'll be after school starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take about a month to get it through MDOT, about a month to get bonds and everything back.
And a lot of that cost was traffic direction as well.
It
Traffic
is, it's a very
control.
complex
It is.
project due to the traffic situation. There's, it's
Right.
very tight on the south end with the shopping center there. There's a box that is, has to be widened under traffic, so it's a complex project.
All right, let's move on to the next item.
All right, what is it? All right,
Item
next item is a
53.
preliminary plat for Walnut Ridge subdivision. It's a 5-lot subdivision on 57.86 acres. No public infrastructure associated with it.
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin. I'll second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right.
Item 54.
The final item is the final plat for the same subdivision.
Motion.
Motion, Supervisor Griffin. I'll second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Scott?
Where's Walnut?
Let's bypass item 55 and go to 56.
Walnut Ridge.
56 is Reverend Howard Nichols and others. It's zoning violation, junk vehicles, and Supervisor District 5. I think this is Billingsley Road, correct, Paul?
Yeah, yeah. Anybody here?
Do I have a motion?
What'll be our next step, though?
Direct the P&Z attorney to take action on it.
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Griffin. Do I have a second? Second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Next item, Bobby Kelly and Reginald Hewlett. So a commercial operation in an agricultural zone district, and it's located on Sulphur Springs Road. Supervisor District 5.
He received notice?
I sent notice to, one was for the ad valorem taxes, and the other was a address that showed that property. I did get the one back that was not received on the address to the property, but I have not received the other one back or had any contact, so I can't advise whether he got it or not.
Okay, well, motion to go to the next step.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks for approval. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
And we're gonna skip 58 for now, correct?
Do what now?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can,
And
we work 58 out, whether they liked it or not.
yes.
Yeah, we worked that one out.
All right,
I was gonna finish it, we didn't finish there. Item 59.
Item 59, preliminary plat, Glendale Farms 3, Yandle Road, new subdivision, Supervisor District 5.
Do that property, butts up to Yandell Road?
It's off of Yandell Road,
It's
correct?
off of Yandell, so it don't touch Yandell Road.
Well, the rest of the subdivision does. That's how they exit the property, is on to Yandell Road.
But you know what I'm saying, that we gonna need right of way there, so that's my thought now, but it's on back in the back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion. Second.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. Do we have covenants at this point?
I'm sorry, repeat.
We have any covenants?
I haven't seen any.
Do we not need to look at the covenants before we approve anything?
Yes, sir, that is.
Yeah.
I know it's in harmony with the rest of it, but I can get them to get those to me.
The minimum square footage?
I would have to look. I can't answer that, sir.
We really need to look at this
Yeah,
thing a little closer before, in my thought process anyway, before we
mine's
move
same
forward.
Okay, you want
We
to table?
hold it to next meeting with your thought. We're gonna,
We'll table that
hey,
one.
Ronnie, I put that motion back, we're gonna,
Got a motion pulled back.
and set it back to next
Okay,
meeting.
Ms. Banks, you pull your second as well?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna hold it to the next meeting. Okay, is that it, Scott?
That's all I have, sir.
Yeah, okay. Got a motion table the next meeting by Supervisor Griffin, second by
Second.
Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right.
All right, Mike?
Item 60 and 61. 60 is the sheriff has a lot of abandoned items. The list is on your laptop. Most of them are ATVs and bicycles and stuff like that. So the board has to prove that they are abandoned and approve that we provide notice to the public that we're going to auction them. And I recommend that we do that.
Motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
The next is just a contract for landscape services. It's going to the same entity that provides yard maintenance now. The contract is on the laptop.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Greg?
Morning, Board.
Good morning.
A few things for you today. Item 62 is a request that this board acknowledge the EWP closeout letter. That is a project we did with the city of Canton for flooding near East Sim Street. It is part of, okay.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffith, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, item 63 is a request that this board establish the committee to score RFPs for the Madison County Capacity Improvement Plan. Those road RFP or the engineering RFPs will be coming up over the next week, and like the broadband committee, since the last time we did this formally, there's been vacillations and fluctuations. Historically, the committee has been county engineer, assistant county engineer, and county administrator. But before we get into $250 million worth of roads, I thought it might be a good idea to formally.
I'll make that motion for y'all three to be on this committee. Do I have a second? Second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion.
Wait, hold on. Who's the supervisors on it?
Nobody.
No supervisors unless somebody wants to join.
No.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, item 64 is a proposal for additional cyber insurance. What you have before you is essentially 4 different options. You've got Essential Package and the Edge Package. One with a $1 million aggregate limit, one with a $3 million aggregate limit. My recommendation on this one is the Essential Package with a $3 million aggregate limit at $53,500.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffith, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. And that is $3 million for $53,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
And that also includes the $100,000 that we're keeping with the MAS.
That'll be $4,000 that we pay through MAS, but yes, as far as overall coverage for the county, yes.
Yes, it's $100,000. We pay $4,000 per year.
Multiple pots of money, yes, sir.
Okay. Other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, item 65 is a request that this board approve a contract with James and Associates for project management and oversight. Mr. James is here, should you have any questions. Essentially what this will be doing is a set of outside
Mr. James,
eyes.
come up to the board.
Sure, a set of outside eyes on state, federal, and bond money. That's what this is, how I envision this working.
All right, James, come on up. But this is, again, I want to make sure the board, we all understand this. This is on the projects that we currently have approved as far as moving forward, road projects.
Primarily, yes, sir. Anything involving state, federal, or bond money, so there may be some watershed issues that come out in the near future or something like that.
The opera money as well?
Most of that's already gone, but it wouldn't hurt. But I don't know that it's necessary because most of those checks are out.
Well, the checks may be out.
You got to keep up with it.
But you got to keep up with it.
Yes, sir. We do monitor in accordance with 2
James,
CFR
come on
200. That's something that we will definitely do and continue to do. And if y'all would like us to bring in Mr. James on that one, we certainly will.
Well, if we're going to move forward with this, we need to make sure we're moving forward with.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to say this because I know you and I have talked a little bit. You stand up, just stand up, and you don't have to necessarily say anything at this point. But there's a reason why he's here today and being asked to come in front of this board for approval, for the bond money.
Sure.
To take care of the bond money. And I'm going to say this, knowing where we are with our investigation, with our money, that $2.7 million, and I'm going to be very careful about this. What I say is that that is still under investigation, if I'm correct. Sheriff Tucker?
That's correct.
Okay. So that's the reason I'm going to be very careful with what I say here, that I do agree that we do need to bring someone else in to look at the $250, $300 million of bond money that, that we'll be using over a period of next few years and possibly more. But that also tells me that we have a concern or an issue in our comptrolling department. And I'm just talking from one supervisor at this point. Or else we wouldn't necessarily need to bring someone else in. So, with that being said, of course, the investigation's still going on. Haven't seen anything on the investigation, which we do not usually do until the investigation is over with. But at some point, we will need to address that issue as well after the investigation. And I just say this to let the board know where I am. I think this is probably a good move to bring someone in to oversee the bond money, plus the ARPA money. But I would hope that after we received information on the investigation and take a look at it, that we look at that department as well and to strengthen that department, ever how that looks like, to where we can do a lot of this stuff, if not all of it, in-house. Because over the next several years, this county is going to be taking in a lot of money, which we do now, and we're going to also be sending out a lot of money, which we do now. But over the next 4 or 5 years, it's going to really raise up to another 2 or 3 levels. And so we just need that department to be as strong as possible to ensure that what goes in, goes out, goes to the right places, posted to the right places. So that's where I am with this.
And just to go back on some of the things you said, I'm glad to hear you say that to strengthen our accounting department, because my thinking of it, I see it that it's under man or under woman or whatever. It need more man or woman power. Under people, just put it like that then. It need more personnel with different type skills. So I'm definitely open for that when we get to that point.
Well, and I say this, and I think I can speak for every board member, I hope I can up here on this statement, that none of us was pleased with the $2.7 million that was sent out to the wrong place. Not any of us. And I think most of us are waiting till the investigation's over with to look at that department to see how we can strengthen that department. And I use the word strengthen, because I'm not sure what that looks like at this point. But, we will need to come back and look at that department after the investigation.
So, Greg, this fella and his firm's going to keep track of the $250 million in road project money?
Predominantly, yes, sir.
And he'll be on the hook if any of it's misspent?
That's the idea behind this,
Now,
yes,
is he
sir.
properly insured? Because $2.7 million, our insurance didn't even come close.
The E&O insurance, he can speak to that himself, but the E&O insurance would kick in. And if nothing else, this is as much about shoring up what we currently have and having a set of external eyes come in and look at this. Even if the insurance doesn't cover $2.7 million, it can keep us from getting to that point where the insurance kicks in. But he can speak to that.
Because when the Amazon money was going to be dispersed, the state reached out to me and asked, would the county like to handle it or Makita? And I recommended Makita, and then they hired a private firm, to my understanding, and they have the insurance to cover a pretty good portion if it, for whatever reason, some was misspent. So I'll just listen to what he has to say.
Sure.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Board members, supervisors, president, board attorney, thanks for your time of allowing us to come up here. We're currently doing the same project and offering oversight for over $100 million for the city of Jackson. That's their ARPA funds and other special federal and state funding as well. I began my career in 2007 on the verge of Hurricane Katrina and Horn. I was employee number 5 that launched that team, and we oversaw $5.5 billion. Now, that was Horn's insurance. We have our own insurance now, but we had 0.004% of fraud. So what we do is we're extra layer, as Greg says, to his department and the comptroller's department, and we're the first line of defense before it even gets to these guys to approve payment. And we essentially have checks and balances and extra internal controls that we look at and fraud mitigation being one of them, right? So we have not just forensic accountants, we have fraud examiners. We work with Shad White, he knows me personally, and they outsource a lot of their audit work to us. So we will, for this project though, we will call our E&O and increase because this is not $100 million, we're talking about over $200 million, so we could increase our liability as well. But we have the expertise, the manpower, and the years of experience. And currently, the project we're working on currently for the city has a 0% fraud rate. And we have spent about $95 million of that money already. So we think we're up for the challenge. We know we're up for the challenge, and we'll just increase accordingly.
All right.
And if this go through, we're hiring him. When he increased, Greg, you get that paperwork.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
The,
Second.
We got a motion on the table and have a second for approval, but Greg, you have checked this company out and you're good with this company.
I am very much good with this company, sir. The way that Mr. James lights up about accounting is the same way Dwayne lights up about Mississippi State football. Folks that get that excited about accounting have a home, and I'd like them to work for us simply because they love accounting. That's ultimately what it boils down to, and you get better work out of people who enjoy their field.
And this is a one-year contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All
Thank
right. Item 66 is a request that this board approve a resolution for the MAS debt offset program. What this is justice court fines. We have about $2.5 million in outstanding justice court fines going back to the advent of our current computer technology software solution. So we're going back 25 years, we've got $2.5 million. What this resolution does is it starts the process of enrolling in the debt offset program offered by the Mississippi Association of Supervisors. And the gist of that one is if you have an outstanding justice court fine with Madison County and you file a state income tax return, Madison County gets their cut off the top of the tax return. So if you had a $150 return and you owed Madison County $100, we get our $100 and then they send you a check for, well, it's actually 25 in this case because there's a 25% collection fee, but the remainder goes back to you. Madison County simply gets the outstanding justice court fine as part of the state income tax return.
Okay. I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Second, Supervisor Banks. Basically, this is really actually collecting monies that no one else is collecting.
Correct.
For the county is
Yeah,
basically
this
what
is
it
big. I think we need to talk more about it so the citizens out there can hear that this is coming. Don't get the call in Justice Court of Madison County when your income tax don't show up, when you got a fine for speed, DUI, or whatever. This finna hit.
And to your point, Supervisor Griffin, they can call, but they will have notice, and that is a requirement of the program, is we've got to send out letters indicating, hey, we're going to turn you over to the Department of Revenue. And then they're given a certain amount of days to either contest that finding or to pay it. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Right.
When the tax
Johnny
return.
might have been hiding those speed tickets from mom and daddy for a while, and he finna get caught up right now.
Yes, he is.
All right, very good. It is huge for Madison County. Other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Perfect. All right, item 67, Mr. Gerard Gibbert's appointment to Makita is up at the end of the month. My understanding is he would still like to be on that board, so if y'all see fit, I would ask that y'all either reappoint him or appoint somebody else.
Got a motion from Supervisor Banks, a second Supervisor Griffin, and he did say something to me that he would like to continue to serve. So, other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, item 68 is a request that this board acknowledge the substantial completion for the sheriff's fuel system. That's the project we've been working on to where the sheriff essentially has his own gas station. So in the event of emergencies, our sheriff's department and to that, and to, it's kind of the same idea, road department, if necessary, will have access to fuel that we store on site and we buy it wholesale, so we get it cheaper.
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. This is good for Madison County.
Very much so.
Good deal. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Great. Item 69 is a CDBG contract with Wagner Engineering. This is for the work out at the West Madison Utility District. We'll be working in conjunction with CMPDD and West Madison Utility District's engineers to rehab some sewer lines out there.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Right, and if the board will humor me for 1 second, I know it's way later than it should be. There is a public meeting related to flooding, July 30th, 6 p.m. at the Canton Multipurpose Center. So I know there were mentions earlier of flooding. If you're interested in kind of what the plan is going forward, July 30th, 6 p.m., Canton Multipurpose Center.
Okay, thank you, Greg. And the song?
Good morning.
Morning.
Item number 70 is the budget amendments and the interfund cash transfers.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Item 71 and 72 is the general claims docket and one payroll docket.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Supervisor Griffin. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Number 73 is the approval of the waiting report for the Justice Court.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
74 is the approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Supervisor Banks.
And number 75 is approval of the Fleet Corps claim docket.
Motion.
Is that second?
Second.
All approved?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie?
Nothing, Mr. Vice President.
Sheriff?
Aye, Sheriff.
Just have one item, we need to acknowledge the inmate meal log for last month for the minutes, please.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And that was June of 2024.
Old business? New business? Do I have a motion to go into closed termination?
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion, Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. We're going in closed termination for,
Executive section.
It's up to you. We could talk about litigation.
litigation. All right, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? That's closed. We're going to executive session. Oh, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Move.
Move for Supervisor Banks. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor?
Yeah. Litigate.
Say aye. All opposed? We are now in executive session.
Everybody step out, please.
That's okay.
Being cut off.
For litigation.
All right, Mr. Lott, we're back from the executive session. Mr. Lott?
Madison County Board of Supervisors took no action during executive session.
All right. Tim, if you would, come up to the mic, please. What I would like to do is to amend my motion concerning the moratorium that we have on Highway 22. And my amendment would be to continue the moratorium with the amendment of saying that for you to bring back to us a cost and a time that the traffic study showed that would make that area safer. And also work with MDOT, reach out to MDOT and ask them to look at straightening that S-curve out to make it safer.
Okay. Would you
That
like?
is my amendment to the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second for Casey. Discussion?
Are you asking me to go ahead and get the improvements going?
Go ahead and bring back a cost.
Just a
estimate
cost?
And a cost estimate and a time to move forward.
Okay.
With that. So we got a motion on the table, got a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Now, I think, bringing something back to us, I think he was gonna.
Well, if you want me to go ahead and get started on getting the improvements rolling, I need to get an engineer on board,
Right.
get a consultant firm hired to go ahead and assist me in getting the improvements, getting the design of the two roads, and assisting with the permit.
Okay, do I have a motion?
You want to hire one right now?
No, I'll bring a proposal back to you at the next board meeting.
All right, but you need approval to be able to do that.
Yeah, I just need approval
All right,
from
do
you
I have a
guys for
motion
authorization to,
Yeah.
that you want to go that route.
Our next board meeting is July the 30th.
Yeah, budget here.
Yeah, the August 1st, yeah, 5th.
But he
Well,
can
we
still,
could take
he can
that up.
still, we can still bring that on the 30th. Absolutely. Okay, bring that on the 30th.
Okay.
All right, do you want to make a motion for him to hire and to go ahead and bring back an engineer?
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, got a motion, Supervisor Banks, I'll second it, to bring back a engineering firm to do this work.
Yeah.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, I have a question. I was gonna ask, the C-store developer.
The who?
Yeah. How much time would it take you, how many days would it take you to do the necessary things to build your operation, build your store? How long are we taking?
Clean off property, set
The
it.
cleaning property,
So it would take the architect probably 2.5 months, and then probably at least 2.5 months after that. So we're looking anywhere from 5 to 6 months.
6 months.
Once we get approval from the board, then I can start that
And
process.
you, 6 months and you'll be built?
I would start building. I would start construction.
Oh,
Once I get your approval, I would start that process, and it would take at least 5 to 6 months from today.
Okay.
Or whenever I would get the approval.
Okay, so at what point would your doors be open for operation?
That would take another, depending on whether 9 to 12 months.
Okay, so if we would go ahead and lift the moratorium, which allows you to start your processes, we're looking at 12 to
18 months.
12 to 18 months.
I would say closer to the 18-month mark.
Yeah. So as long as we keep the moratorium, we just pushing you farther and farther and farther back.
That's
From
correct.
your investment, I understand. Okay. And of course, what we're trying to do now is go ahead and be ahead of you in making the whole area safer, but lifting the moratorium to allow you to start the actual architectural work doesn't change anything. I mean, pretty much you got 6 months of paperwork to shuffle, is what you're telling me, approximately that.
But I can't start that until I get the, the final approval from you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty much on a standstill.
Yeah, okay. Well, when a person owns a piece of property, I've always felt like if it's zoned for what he wants to do, and then he ought to be allowed to do it. I think if I own a piece of property, I would want to. I'm gonna make a motion that we lift the moratorium on his operation, allow him to go ahead and get started and to work toward his plans, because we're trying to fast track these improvements ourselves, and we're gonna make that happen. So that's my motion.
Got a motion on the table to lift the moratorium. Do I have a second?
I'm gonna second it, but I need to hear.
All right, we got a motion, got a second.
A little more of your thinking.
Well, I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of concessions that he did make in terms of his site plan and what he wants to actually place there. But my thinking is he bought a piece of property based on documents provided to him that dealt with Madison County. Madison County is the one that zoned the property. He didn't zone the property. Hell, he wasn't even born when the property was zoned commercial. So this man, is sold a business to buy another location to open up a business, and he has certain timelines on him in terms of how he handles what he's doing. I learned of his company, his situation some time ago before we put the first moratorium on, to be honest with you. But I knew that the community needed safety, whether he was able to build or not, and we need to improve that interchange. Now, that was the biggest issue. I've been doing zoning, dealing with zoning issues 40 years, and I know that nobody really wants to see change in the neighborhood after they build their house. And I've seen people that didn't even want to see another house built in the neighborhood after they build their house, and I'm sorry about that. My biggest problem or concern I have with this whole issue is that in the last few days when I got this information, I have not communicated with the citizens in the area that have been communicating with me. And I apologize to them for that. But I can't, I can't for the life of me sit back and just allow us to hold up somebody from doing what they want to do on their land that is in the proper zoning to do it. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Other questions, other statements?
My second still stand there. My main point, and I know we want to get out of here and we in litigation. But it's just what I'm saying is just true. The man property is zoned for him to be able to put what he want to put there, store, commercial. But it was on our comprehensive plan that we kind of zone all Madison County property as we approve our comprehensive plan. But on the other hand, I done seen this board go in and change property in that comprehensive plan to a different zoning. So I just saw it both ways, cause you have to. But the most strongest feeling I have is a person not being able to do what they want to do on their property that is zoned properly. Go ahead. I'm through.
Okay, and I think this is more about safety than it is anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a motion on the floor at this point to remove the moratorium for Highway 22 in that area. All right, any other discussion?
It was approved the site plan.
Or everybody? I thought the motion was to remove the moratorium just for Mr. Betty's property.
That's what his property is the only thing that's under the moratorium.
I agree.
So we just removed the moratorium and improved, but he dropped off approved site plan.
So it does approve the site plan?
Yes, not just remove the moratorium, but the approved site plan.
All right, Mr. Clark, is that moratorium just for that property only, or is it for the area? How was it written?
I think it was generally described as the Livingston Vernon Road and Highway 22 area.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do too, and that's the reason that I'm asking, because we don't need to be changing anything that's not. So it's the area, not just for that one piece of property. So,
Should you so choose, I guess, Mr. Banks, you could say you're rescind the moratorium pursuant to your previous motion.
Well, he made the, he put the
No,
moratorium.
I'm just trying to help clarify.
Yeah, that's fine.
and to approve.
And
the
to
site
approve the
plan.
site plan.
So yours is all in one motion.
All in one motion.
Okay.
For avoidance of doubt, the previous motion was Mr. Banks did offer and Mr. Baxter did second a motion to suspend the issuance of building permits at the intersection of Livingston Vernon Road and Stokes Road until the realignment of Highway 22 is addressed due to public safety concerns. So if it's your motion to remove that moratorium.
That moratorium.
Is that what I'm hearing you say?
That's what I'm
And the site
saying.
plan.
And
approve the site plan.
That's it. Okay. Where'd Mr. Lott go?
He had to step out.
Don't worry about it, Gina got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah, I got a question pertaining to this issue. Tim, are the road improvements, are you trying to get the state to fund this, or is the county gonna fund it?
The county would fund this under a permit with the state.
Yeah.
Now, I think the letter that I've been authorized to draft, or somebody with the county would draft to MDOT, ultimately would ask MDOT to come in and realign Highway 22 at their expense. But the improvements that were in Kaiser Traffic's recommendations would be county funded.
So, Greg, is there a pot of money out there that this can
We're
come
not
from?
approving any money here now.
Yeah, I know, I'm just curious. I know.
Should this board authorize those road repairs, I'll find the money. My guess is it would come from Grand Gulf money, or modernization money, internet sales tax money. One of those two pots is the most likely candidate, but I have not looked into it in great detail.
Of course, we're going to be down the road a bit. I mean, we're going to budget hearings, and then so this is all the next fiscal, because it'll be at least for plans and everything to be done properly. We're looking at several months, but we will be inside of, and that's what I want to make sure, we'll be inside of any of the development that is planned to go out there, inside of what their timeline is. And so we make sure that happens. Okay.
Okay, we have a motion on the board. Everybody understand the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No.
Okay.
I don't. Okay, so it's 3-2.
Yeah.
So at this point, the moratorium stays on.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, you was in. So you was in favor of then? Okay. So with that being said, the moratorium lifts, the site plan's approved, and also you're gonna still get with MDOT.
Yeah, we still, he's part of all
And you're
that.
still gonna bring back a,
Do a new motion.
yeah, and that's what I'm
That was
getting at.
part of-
That's right, of my amended motion.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably need another motion to go ahead and do the same thing, to bring back an engineer
Yeah.
to do the cost. Well, you bring back an engineer, a proposal for an engineer to bring back a cost and the time for that project. Okay, and work with MDOT.
Second.
I got a motion, second.
Mm-hmm.
Toby?
Yes, sir. And I'm assuming you're talking just 22 right now, looking at money and getting them out here and everything. As Mr. Smith alluded, that no trucks will be turning off of 22 to go to a service station. Well, that's wrong. They will be turning off there, and I wish him well on it. But you're gonna have to also take care of Stokes, Livingston, Vernon, in that area and everything.
Yeah.
Whether y'all have to do engineering study.
Well, that's,
or just find everything out.
yeah, that's what we're working on. Our portion is Livingston, Vernon, and Stokes. So we're not gonna wait on the state for that, and also Cedar Hill. So that's what that's what we're dealing with.
That's what we're gonna bring back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
Okay, I think that's it. So do I have a, Mr. Clark?
No,
Yeah, he gotta talk about the thing.
Give me that motion.
You need some help with that?
Yeah, I need
We've
some
we've just recently learned of a residence in District 5 that is operating commercially without the proper zoning or any sort of conditional use or permit. And should the board so choose, I could move forward with the legal process through the Madison County courts to stop that.
Okay.
That's my motion authorizing a zoning lawyer to move forward.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Baxter. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, anything else? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn July the 30th at 9 a.m.?
9 a.m. budget hearing.
For the budget hearing.
And one engineering thing apparently, but also.
You made a motion? Got a motion, Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Brandon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Man, I'm sorry. You know, it just make me feel bad. Hey, okay. But at least it's gonna take him 18 months to do it.